Saturday, everyone. So who's ready to fix America, right? Who's ready to take this country in the direction that it probably needs to go? I got a solution. I got a couple solutions, and none of this is new. I've talked about this many times before. And again, I'm a American furniture manufacturer, so obviously I'm going to be a little bit biased as someone who's always worked with their hands and understands what it's like to take a shower after I go to work versus taking a shower before I go to work. So I want to put that out there for you guys. But basically, what I've been doing all morning is I've been conversing back and forth with Grok on exactly what would fix this country, what would get it back to more of a manufacturing based economy as opposed to a white collar economy. And then I thought that I would paint a picture of why we're able to have this white collar economy that we have today and what you guys are allowing the other third world countries to do so that you can have the kind of living that you have here. And personally, I'm against all this. And some of you might say, well, Eric, you're a hypocrite. Well, I actually have an American business that sells to Americans. I got 9 people that work for me. And again, we do all this as legal as one can possibly be. And it does work. And more people need to see that it does work. It is a system that pays people good money, allows people to buy cars, buy homes, and have a lot of pride in what it is that they do. And that's what I want for more people. And that's where I come from. So with that being said, let me grab my notes here. So the topic is we got to fix America, and I put 400% tariffs and I put e-verify in there. Okay, there's resolutions in the House right now. People have put forward bills to institute new ways to tax corporations. And one of the things that was introduced was something called the Hire Act, which essentially a tax on payments that American businesses make to foreign companies for all the goods that they then bring into America and charge you guys for. Now, this particular tax, in essence, could be thought of as a form of a tariff, but maybe it is the mechanism that would be more palatable for more people. I don't know if that's the case, but I want to talk to you guys about what this plan is. It's essentially broken up into what we got, like 3 or 4 different phases. We got 3 different phases here as to how to bring manufacturing back to America, how to go from this country where we're essentially moving into a digital world, right? We're moving into a technocracy. We're moving into a situation where more and more people are being forced to live in apartments, consume digital products. Like everything you guys have is a subscription today. Basically, the cars we buy now have subscription services built into them. I mean, everything is becoming digital and a subscription. And if we want to get away from this, we're going to have to, at some point, agree as a country to make some changes, right? If you want to have more Americans have meaningful work, you're going to have to agree to kick the third world out. You're going to have to agree that it's not okay for businesses to utilize the third world to then bring goods back into America and then upcharge you people for it and go collect yachts and private jets and live on, collect massive dividends on their shareholding, on their taxes. So anyway, I thought I'd go over this kind of stuff with you. It's kind of a fun discussion. A lot of it is theoretical, but some of it's very practical. A lot of states in America are using e-verify. I did a long talk about e-verify maybe a month ago. I'm talking about states like Georgia and Arizona, states that have used this e-verify to curb the amount of illegal labor that's used here in America. And it's actually a great tool to get illegal labor out of your state and thus out of the country. But we can't seem to pass a mandatory e-verify situation here in America because, again, big business doesn't want it, right? And we all know who pays off Congress. Congress is paid for by big business. How does big business do this? They outsource all the manufacturing of the third world, or they bring the third world in here by way of H-1B visas, or simply people that come across the border illegally. They then take those profits and they pay off the politicians to create the rules and laws that make it harder for all of us to compete with them, right? So it's a very well-known structure. I think people, not many people would argue with me that this is a thing and that we need to do something about it. So what are we going to do about it? Here we go. Let's get into it. Who am I? Why are you listening to me? My name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. I have a small furniture boutique company. We got 9 employees. We do about 500 pieces a year. We're known for a high gloss lacquer coating, and it's a great way to make money. It's a great middle class living. We hire from our community, and we send furniture all over the country. So when I talk to you guys about manufacturing, I do it from that standpoint as a paint company and a furniture company. We also have 2 manufacturers in India that make hardware for us. So we also know how to import and export because we actually do it. I don't have a degree from the Wharton School of Business. I'm just a normie dude that works really hard and have a business as a result. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Okay, so some of the things I want to talk about. The first thing is e-verify. So e-verify is something that a lot of states are utilizing now, but they've all watered it down. It's been a tremendously watered down tool. And unfortunately, we don't have anybody that wants to give E-Verify what it really needs, which is some sticking power, right? So the way the E-Verify is generally implemented in most states is it's implemented basically for something like 25 employees and up, right? So if you're a small company, you don't have to use E-Verify. And I'll get to why nobody wants to use E-Verify and how it works. But what happens is these companies that have 25 employees or more, what they do is they then create a bunch of LLCs, right? So you go from having a company with 25 employees to having a whole bunch of companies that, or excuse me, a whole bunch of LLCs that have 4 to 5 employees, and then you can get under these caps, right? This is how most states implement this thing. So in fact, it doesn't actually work. So give me a minute, guys. I'll get into the comments. I'll chat with people. Put your comments in here. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you hit the like button. Again, I'm talking about this as an American furniture company, a real manufacturer that has to deal with all this shit. And I think I got some good ideas. So hear me out here. So what E-Verify does that's very different than the way we do things today is when I hire someone, I have to fill out what's called an I-9. And that essentially tells the tax people, right, where to send the taxes, where to take the taxes out, or excuse me, how to take the taxes out of your paycheck, and then where to send the taxes to, right? Does it go to Medicare? Does it go to Medicaid? Does it go to FICA? Does it go to the federal government? Does it go to the state? Does it go to the county? Does it go to the city? All these places. And then they use your social security number and your name and your address. These are the verification methods, right? Well, this is essentially just a bunch of paperwork that's sent out to tax entities to then collect taxes, right? What E-Verify does is it runs all of your information through the Social Security system and Department of Homeland Security and the IRS, right? Every business in America is terrified of this system. Companies like Tyson, who run all the meatpacking plants, Smithfield run all the meatpacking plants, they are terrified that this will come in and wipe out their workforce, right? Americans are terrified of this because they don't want steaks to cost whatever, $30 a pound. They don't want a hamburger to cost, $15 a pound. They want to keep prices low because what it does is it allows them to keep their margins high, and then they get to make tons of money on the backs of illegal labor, okay? So it's a real problem, and E-Verify is literally the tool that would fix the immigration problem we have, okay? When Trump came into office, he ran on the platform of, hey, we're going to do mass deportations, and Trump clearly isn't going to do it. He's not interested. He started to do it in June of last year, and he bailed. So what he did is he was going to the meatpacking plants. He was going to the job sites, the construction sites. He was going to the hotels, and he was going to the restaurants. Well, everyone flipped out, right? So they all told him, like, dude, back off. You can't crush our businesses. We can't take this. You can't do this. People don't want to do these jobs, right? Americans don't want to do these jobs. I hear this kind of stuff all the time. And so he tacoed, right? He backtracked, and of course now it's probably one of the reasons we're in the war is because the guy needs a win because he's about ready to get his butt kicked in the elections. But anyway, we're not going to make this about politics. Point is that E-Verify works, but the states generally water it down so that the businesses aren't affected, okay? When Arizona put E-Verify into effect, it actually dropped the state's GDP by something like 5%. Like it did a lot of damage there at first, but now they have one of the lowest unemployment rates in all of America, 3.7%, right? And they're literally right on the border. So E-Verify works, but you got to take that initial pain. You got to take that transition, and most people don't want to do it, okay? The state of Georgia also does it. The state of Florida started to institute it, but once they realized that, let me back up. The state of Florida instituted it, but they were the state that said 25 people and over has to do the E-Verify. And then again, all these large developers, all these large housing companies, they basically just created a whole bunch of LLCs and then got under the cap. So the cap is the mechanism that screwed over E-Verify in the state of Florida. Now, if they really wanted this thing to grab a hold, they would just make it mandatory E-Verify and the situation would be done. And again, they could be like Arizona, literally having a ton of immigrants doing a ton of work, but take the hit on GDP, get the right people in the jobs, the people that are here legally, and then watch your GDP go back up and watch your unemployment go down because, again, you're hiring more of your local community to do that work. But most businesses aren't going to want to do that, right? As a furniture manufacturer here, it would be so much easier for me to just outsource all the work to India, right? They could build cabinets there. Mexico, they're actually great at making furniture as well. I could outsource all this work, probably improve my margins by 50%, but that's not what I advocate for, and that's not what I want for my fellow Americans, the people that want to start small businesses. And the key, guys, to fixing the immigration problem is literally just to have more people start small businesses, right? When everyone says people don't want to do these jobs, right? The truth is that people don't want to do these jobs when they're working for somebody else. If you have your own business, trust me, you'll find a way to do some of this work because you'll make money. You'll make real money. You can hire people, teach them how to do it. Maybe you can hire it, give it to your kids, maybe sell it off to one of your employees. It starts to make sense when you know it from a business owner standpoint as just as being some shitty job that you have to take because you got no other options, which is what they've convinced Americans happens, which is why everyone needs to go to school, right? They shipped all the jobs to China and to Vietnam starting in 2001. They then brought the third world in here and told all you guys to go to college. And then by the time you came out, well, of course you don't want to do those jobs. You've been in college for 20 years. You got, two generations of people. All they know is textbooks, fluorescent lighting, and sending emails, So it's a cultural problem that we have to fix. E-Verify would help do this, but I don't know that we have the stomach for it here in America, if I'm being completely honest. But it is the tool that we need in order to help get the people out of the country. Because again, your president's not going to do it. When you elect people into office to do a thing, they almost never do it, and you get some kind of wishy-washy, half-assed version of whatever it is they said they were going to run on, and it completely sucks. Okay, so other thing I mentioned in the thumbnail for this is the 400% tariffs. Okay, everyone knows I'm a tariff guy. I've had to pay tons of tariffs on my product that comes in from India, and I'm perfectly okay with it, right? Hopefully there's more businesses that will realize that it can get too expensive to make things in the third world, and thus they should try and make it here in America. And that's how that thing kind of works. Yes, costs go up for everyone, but in the aggregate, it's going to be better for America because it changes the culture. And I'm a culture guy. I want people to understand that when we say things like 400% tariffs, it's not to screw over Americans, and it's not to make everything more expensive for the third world, right? Because again, if we have a 400% tariff here in America, we'll probably end up having a 400% tariff wherever we, want to trade shit to. I completely understand that. But the idea is to get away from this society of people that think that they're going to work from home, that they're going to make their money on the internet, that they're going to make their money here on YouTube, and that they're going to work in an office, sending emails, work in an office, working on strategy and marketing. And it's like, no, we need to get our culture back to making shit, right? We got to get our culture back to working with our hands. We got to get our culture back to understanding that there is value in real work. And this idea of just doing bullshit jobs, making 80K a year, that time is gone, guys. Like it really is gone. And I don't know if people understand this, but it's getting harder and harder to make money with a college degree. And if everyone just says, well, I can't go frame houses because again, I got a degree in business, right? Or I can't go be a butcher, working not a meat packing plant, but be an actual butcher. I can't go do that because again, the Tyson has the lock on that entire industry. So I guess I got to go try and use my degree, or I guess I got to go get a degree in psychology, or maybe I got to go get a degree in this because again, we're told that these jobs don't work. Well, guess what? These jobs used to pay all the bills and they can still pay the bills, but you got to get the cheap labor out of here, right? You got to do something on the demand side, the supply side to help out these industries. You got to do something on the demand side to spur people to buy homes again, but I'm not talking so much about demand. I want to talk more about supply. So, okay, I'm going to keep going. Let's see what we got in the comments. I'll read some of you guys' comments real quick. And then I got a 3-phase plan. I literally had AI write this thing out for me so that I could go over it in kind of a cohesive way. So bear with me as I kind of go through this stuff. And I want to talk to you guys about the profit margins of a lot of these companies. You guys buy a lot of shit from companies like Apple, Nike, Restoration Hardware, and why these guys make so much money. And it's a damn shame, guys, because we could be doing a lot more things here in America instead of outsourcing everything to the third world so we can have cheap shit, So anyway, all right, let's go through the comments. I appreciate everyone being here today. Happy Saturday. I think it's noon now, so I think it's beer 30. So I'm gonna pop a beer real quick. I'm supposed to go to some jewelry festival with my wife. We're gonna go look at jewelry, right? That sounds like a freaking disaster. But I love my wife, and so I'll go do it with a smile on my face. All right, who we got in here? We got let's start in here. We got let's see, Kane, RT or R2T. Hey, good to see you, dude. We got Jera, just J Ted Brits. That's a weird name. Okay, hello, good to see you. What if Fleeting's in here? Rar, good to see you, dude. Punish the Wicked 5845, I guess. 5845. Bullshit. Okay, cool, dude. Well, again, if you guys think I'm wrong, if you guys have a different solution to anything that I'm saying, put in the comments so that other people can kind of bat it around. And like I said, I'm happy to engage with it. I want to, I love when people beat me up over tariffs. And I love when people beat me up over not going to college, not finishing high school, and love to tell me how the economy works and how tariffs really work, even though I actually deal with it every day. We've been in business for 10 years, by the way. So we beat all of the skeptics. We beat all of the, the people that say you're going to go out of business in 5 years. Like we're good. We made it. So Okay, says we got to KT 2.0 says hi, good to see you, dude. No, excuse me, NG. I guess it's supposed to be like I don't know, some NGD mining, I guess. Okay, when you're running for Congress, dude, you have a ticket in. I want to, the older I get, the more I realize that like we need real politicians that are able to run for things that work for the American people. Everyone talks like they're going to work for the American people, but then you look at their background and you'll find out that they're all basically bought and sold for it. They've got, the perfect resume. I graduated top of my class in high school. I graduated summa cum laude from whatever UCLA. They have the perfect resume. Like I support gay people and I support trans people and I support this religion, I support that religion. They have this resume of stacking to basically leads them to being a Manchurian candidate type person. And at the end of the day, the poor person, the average person gets fucked, if I put it, to put it completely bluntly. So, all right, let's see. We got who's this? Mikhail Gorbagon. God, I picked a black shirt. Apparently, that's a bad shirt to watch. Hard to read. Okay, don't call yourself wishy-washy. Okay, Michael Gorbagon. People don't get that. All right, got it. Everything should be made at home. So I know that everything should be made at home, but we got to change our culture, guys. And I'm not, again, I no shade on you. If you want to go to college and you want to get a degree in, economics, you want to get a degree in, physiology, psychology, you want to get a degree in whatever, like we need those kind of people. But when you give out the same degree for decades on end, guess what happens to the supply of degrees, right? It goes up, and then there's an inverse relationship between the amount of degrees that you have and then the wages for those degrees. Because again, unless your economy is growing year after year after year for those college degrees, the value of them goes down, and it's basic supply and demand. So we got to change the way our economy works, and we got to change what kind of work is really valued and appreciated. And again, if you guys let all the white collar people outsource all your guys' work to the third world, right? Or bring the third world into America by way of H-1B visas or just straight up illegal labor, you guys are going to be left with nothing. You're going to be left with UBI, and you're going to be left with welfare. You're going to be left with whatever shit the large corporations and the people in government allow you to eat, right? You're not going to get what you're entitled to as an American, which is what I'm always telling you guys. The $2.50 an hour you're paying the guy in China, and the $32.50 an hour, which should be the standard wage in America for the standard job, right? That $30, that's what you guys are missing out on, right? And they'll use that to pay you guys welfare, to keep you out of their businesses, to keep you out of the labor pool, so that you can basically sit at home in the apartment, watch Netflix, jerk off to YouPorn. Maybe you can, play some Call of Duty. You can do all the digital things, but the real world stuff, it's not going to be for you, And so anyway. A couple more comments and let's get going again. All right, Mikhail, Gorba. Okay, cool. Back in here. All right, let's see. But if it also is like 40 years too late, I know, man. Like I said, but what do we do? What am I supposed to do? Like I'm 46 years old. I saw this coming 20 years ago. My dad saw this when I was a young man. Like my dad knew this, and my dad was a union welder his entire life. Right, he was a steam fitter, and like he saw it a long time ago, and dad was right. So I make good money without a college degree. Yeah, I do too. And that's another thing. Like this is, there's been this push to tell people my entire life that working with their hands is for losers, right? Unless you go to college, you're going to dig ditches. And like I bought my first home when I was 21. I've always drive BMWs and Mercedes Benzes. Like I've always had really nice cars. I've never been a truck guy, even though I've been in the trades forever. I've always made really good money. I was able to have kids, go on vacations, do all kinds. I've had retirement accounts. Like it was fine. But you can't tell society that working with your hands pays well when you're trying to get them to go to college. And they were trying to get you guys to go to college so that they could shovel all the work out to the third world and then bring the third world in here. And by the time you guys realize what's happening, it's too late. You can't kick the people out. Trump was supposed to be the guy that kicked everyone out. He's not going to do it, right? He's been told by the corporations and by the Congress people, hey, don't you touch my illegal labor. Don't you touch my H-1B labor, right? And the colleges have said the same thing to Trump, right? They said, don't you cut off our third world, tuition, right? All the 600,000 people coming in from China to our universities. I've got WashU over here, one of the most prestigious research colleges in America. It's all Chinese, guys. Every bit of it. All the restaurants on the Loop, they're all, wok restaurants, noodle restaurants, Thai restaurants. There's no American restaurants, guys. They're all gone because, again, everyone that goes to these colleges, these really prestigious research colleges, they're all foreign. And again, whatever, I don't mind foreigners being here. I got tons of foreigners that work for me, but I don't want my country to cater to them and pander to them. I don't want the cities that I live in to only cater to the people that are going to this prestigious college, and then everything becomes Asian. Like, that's not good for our country. So anyway, that's a side note. Let's keep going through comments, and then I want to get on to what I'm supposed to talk about here. Okay, I make good money with no college degree. So, Caleb, I want to know what you do. I'm sorry, Mikhail, I want to know what you do. But I do work in automotive. All right, fantastic. So, what do you do in automotive, man? And I do it in SAP logistics. Yeah, I worked with SAP a lot when I was in aerospace. I used SAP when I worked for Nordam and in Oklahoma, and I worked for Gulfstream in Savannah, Georgia. So they all used SAP. SAP is a great system. For you guys that don't know, SAP is a logistics system. So think about it like this. So if you ordered a piece of furniture from me, basically what happens is the system knows that you ordered a part number piece of furniture. It then kicks out all the work orders to every department within your company and tells those people, hey, these are the things you need to make. It also automatically makes sure that you have ordered or have stock for all of the operations that have to be completed to create that piece of furniture. It's a pretty cool system. It's an enterprise level piece of software, but wildly expensive. Okay, let's see. And I do it. Okay, SAP, okay, cool. And deal with every department. Yeah, I bet you do. Okay, problem with tariffs will be regime change. As soon as we flip the long-term plan, we'll be wrecked. Yeah, 100%. And the thing is with something like tariffs, unless Congress comes in and codifies things, everything that your president does, no matter who it is, whether it's a lefty or a righty, they're just going to move as soon as someone else is elected. Congress has to do its job. And if you guys have noticed, I talked about this yesterday, Donald Trump has signed 4 bills. Like, that's all your Congress has done since he's been in office. They can't do anything with him. And the one big one was the one big beautiful bill. They also passed a continuing resolution to continue funding for the government, right? Government always seems to have money or time for money, right? They don't seem to have time for policies that would actually help Americans, because government's only aim at this point is to keep you guys paying your 22.5%, to keep you just depressed enough that you won't riot. And that's where we're at today. So, all right, okay, saturation, cool. Okay, the only K in gaming, WSP. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, capacity, right? Chad, we got Chad in here. A bunch of numbers. Pissed away Doge savings with the war on Iran. Yeah, nice, right? I know, isn't that amazing? So Doge got about $200 billion in savings, which was good, but Congress only codified $9 billion of it, right? They got rid of PBS. They got rid of NPR. They got rid of, what was the USAID? And that's it. All the other shit, once a new administration comes in, they'll just rehire all those people, right? They'll put the funding back in, and we'll just go right back to where we were. And that's what is happening in our government, guys. It's just a seesaw every 4 years, right? You get a new president in, they just change things. You get a new Congress in, they just continue to change things. And we're not getting real meaningful change in this country. And so the truth is, we have to change the way our country works, because the truth is, guys, if you get more people buying American and you get more business owners selling to other Americans, selling to other business owners, and you get an economy that actually works for Americans, you won't want the third world, guys. You won't want these mega corporations essentially making all your guys' shit in the third world, bringing it back in here and marking it up and selling to you guys for a ton of profit. You'll want to have those companies, and you'll want to be buying from your neighbor, not some guy who's off in a yacht, in the Mediterranean, Bezos. So it's just, there's things that can work in America, but it's going to take a lot of work for people in Congress. It's going to be a rough one. Okay, Russell Dixon. We got just all right. Russell Dixon. All right. I respect skilled hands the most. Yeah, we need all kinds of people. It takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. I tell you guys, as a business owner, it takes all kinds of people to run this business, and I love people that want to come in and do the same thing every day. I love people that want to come in and do something different every day, and then I love people that love chaos. Like, those kind of people, very hard to find those people, but the people that like chaos are a lot of fun, because they like the chaos, but they love the solution. The solution to the chaos is what works for them, right? So they just seek out problems, they seek out trouble, and they go fix it. It's freaking awesome to find those people. Okay, the problem is the learning business part. You need to have skilled hands and learn business. Yeah, learning business is really tough. So what I tell people, probably the greatest asset to anybody that wants to start a business is not the skill you have, like the trade or whatever. For me, it was furniture. It's being curious, right? Being willing to go learn the thing that you don't understand, right? Because a lot of experts and masterminds, they'll tell you guys, hire out your weaknesses, which is complete horseshit, because there's no money, So when you're doing your job, right, you're trying to grow your business. When you're not at work, you got to be learning on better ways to do things, right? Tax advantages, better ways to, get your material and different kinds of vendors. Where are my vendors getting their material? Can I buy from those people and reduce my cost? Things like that, like better equipment, like CNC routers or whatever, different kinds of table saws, right? Different paint equipment. It's the curiosity to learn how to make more money and how to be more efficient, how to hire people better. That curiosity is the thing I think has helped me in my business more than anything. But it takes a long time. I don't think there's any plan that can help a person become a better business owner. You literally have to just be in the shit. The only thing I know that would help would be to talk to other business owners. That for me has probably been the best thing outside of like being curious. It's talking to other people that have done what I've done and then listening to them tell you what's going on, like listening to their stories of the situations that you've already been in. That's really helpful. And then getting their feedback on the kind of situation that you're in and how to fix it. And then take their advice and do it. Most people will take someone's advice and then they won't do it. It's just it's very common. So, all right, Chad's here. Okay, dude forgets that the largest portion of our population is now going into retirement. Your logic is flawed, but yeah, no, and again, I'm not disagreeing with you. We're not having enough kids, and again, why would you want to have kids if your job is to go into some fluorescent lighting place and crunch emails all day or work from home? Like, again, you got to get people into homes, right? So we got to fix the home problem, which again, 74% of all the wealth is with baby boomers right now. And guess what? Those guys are getting ready to die. And hopefully some of that wealth will kick down in the rest of the country and we can get more people back into homes so that they'll want to have kids, right? We can have a minor baby boom, or maybe we could have a bunch of people, having kids again. But you got to get people out of the apartments. You got to get people out of the schools, and you got to get them investing in where it is that they live, investing in where it is that they work. If you have more business owners, guess what? You really care about your employees. You really care about your customers, and that's better for everyone. So again, the baby boomers don't have anything to do with the problems that we face today, or excuse me, our ability to work on and or fix the problems that we have today. It's just the baby boomers are just another problem. So. Okay, it was the corporations that sent those jobs offshore. Yeah, well, and again, it started in 95 with NAFTA, and then it got put on steroids in 2001 when we let China in the World Trade Organization. But again, the only way they were able to do that was because they essentially sent so many people to college. They psychology brainwashed America into thinking that if you work with your hands on the job site, you're somehow a loser and that you need to go to school so you can go make real money. You can go get a real job, not be a ditch digger, right? You don't have to work hard like your dad. That's what I was always told, which was kind of funny. Yeah, again, I've got a solution for the corporations. I got a solution for a lot of this stuff. It would take a little bit of pain, but again, if we could change the psychology of this country, we can go back to doing work that Americans don't want to do, right? You guys hear that a lot. And again, if you're a business owner, you'll do a lot of work that people don't want to do because, again, you want to have a business. You care about your employees. You care about your customers. It's not all about making 20% profit margin on your products that are made overseas. Okay, so, all right, keep going with your comments, guys. I want to get to what I'm talking to. I want to make sure I respect your guys' time and go through your comments because I know people like that. All right, Russell Dixon, if you guys are in the stream, hit the like button, add to the discussion, hit the subscribe. Getting the like button going on really helps with the algorithm, kick more people out, this kind of stuff, because we need to fix this country. And again, I'm telling you guys this as a business owner. Been doing it 10 years. We got 9 employees. We do low 7 figures in revenue. We move 500 pieces a year all throughout America, and more people can do this stuff. Okay, let's see. NGD mining again. Nikola Tesla dug ditches. Nikola Tesla did a lot of things. All right, Chad 00124559. Russell, it'll show if my soft hands and 6-figure style with you. Russell, it'll show you my soft hands and a 6-figure style. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. All right, Scott Cook's in here. Scott, good to see you, dude. Scott 7777. I've worked all my life. I am 67 years old and was planning to retire this year, but with the economy the way it is, I can't afford it. I will have to work till I die. Well, Scott, you're in a position that a lot of people are in. And if my business doesn't take care of me like I suspect it to, I'll be in the same boat you will. And a lot of people are literally having to go back into work. You got a lot of people that have retired with a reasonable amount of savings. But what I don't think a lot of people understand about that savings is people are living a lot longer than they used to. So when you calculate out, if you got whatever, just say for 100 grand for savings, you're going to expect to live 10 to 15 years. You can take out 10 to 15 grand. But if you're going to end up living 30 years, right, that money is not going to last. And I think a lot of people are doing that math and they're realizing, oh my God, I don't have enough saved. And then when prices go up, not only are you living longer, but the cost of everything gets more expensive. Maybe your rent goes up. If you don't own your home, your property taxes sure as shit are going up. And then, you're back in the situation where you got to go back to work doing something. And again, when these businesses are outsourcing all the work that really pays, and then they're bringing the third world in here to work for the wages you guys really shouldn't have to work for as Americans, you're fucked. You're in a situation that you can't get out of. You got to go take some bullshit job because no one else wants to take that job, or you got to take some job that where they just run through employees and they treat them like shit because again they can. They know there's a excess surplus of people that need some kind of a BS job so that they can afford rent or they can afford food. And it's a bad situation and we got to fix it. Like I said, I think I got some good information here, so let me keep running through comments and I will get to it. Scott Cook, dude, I'm sorry, and like I said, Trump was supposed to help us out with this situation, and he hasn't done any of it. And it's wildly frustrating to me as an American who employs people and has to deal with the ever increasing cost of everything for the people that I employ, right? And it's very frustrating. Again, we could do things with this country, but again, we incentivize the exportation of jobs. We incentivize the importation of jobs, and your government's doing nothing to help the normal American out today. They're doing absolutely nothing. And right now, they're trying to distract everyone from things like the Epstein files and doing this conflict in Iran. And they're trying to bring back American patriotism, like I don't care that gas is super expensive. I don't care that I can't afford a home. I don't care that I can't retire. I don't care that cars are $50,000 because I'm a patriot and we got to go help these people in a country that no one's ever going to go to. We're focused on all the wrong things in this country, and I'm going to talk about things that we should be focused on. All right, Luke Harris, 5582. The propagandists want you to blame the immigrants, but we should be blaming the billionaires. Yeah, 100%. And again, the reason most states and our government aren't passing E-Verify rules is because the billionaires own all the Congress people, right? The reason we're over in Iran right now is because foreign countries own our Congress people, right? It's like everybody has effect on our Congress people, but you guys can't get nothing. You can't get increased housing supply. You can't get increases in energy production. You can't get jack shit. All you guys get is whatever's left over, and it's the high prices from the wars. It's the increased property taxes from the teachers' unions and the work-from-home crew and the salaried people that got college degrees. You guys can't afford anything, right? Food production gets excessively expensive because, again, you got to make sure you pay the people that produce the stuff. And again, farming today isn't what it used to be. It used to be a farmer sold to people within his region. It was fairly low. That's why you had so many farms. Well, now we can, farmers rely on exports, right? So if you threaten a tariff here in America, well, oh my God, you're going to hurt the farmers because then they're going to have a retaliatory tariff because, again, the business model for farming has changed so much. It doesn't work the way that it used to because you have less farmers. You have massive consolidation of every industry, including farming. And we're in the situation that we're in. So we got to do something to fix that. All right, ND Gaming again. See, it isn't xenophobic to want better for your country. Yeah, no, and again, as someone who has, I think I've got like five different groups of people that work in my business, right? I got 8 of us. I'm the only white guy, right? I've got Croatians, I've got Syrians, I've got Hispanics, I've got Asians. I've got all kinds of people that work here, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good for America. America is a melting pot. But the problems start when you let people come into this country uncontrolled, and then the people, when the value of, how do I word this? When the benefit of bringing in a lower educated class of people becomes good for your country, you're in for problems. Right? Instead of bringing the best and brightest into this country to help, you bring in the worst because it's advantageous for your large corporation or maybe your construction company or maybe your company like Tyson. You don't want educated people. You want illegal labor because, again, they'll work for 15, 20 bucks an hour and they don't care about your labor practices. They don't care about your OSHA standards. They don't care about your EPA standards because they just want a job, right? They just want to make some money because the opportunity is so much better than from where they came from. I've said it 1,000 times. As an American employer, you cannot compete with an illegal immigrant when it comes to working. They will work 3 jobs every day. They'll work 12 hours a day. They will work every day of the week because they've never had so much opportunity in their life. And they'll work for less money than you because, again, they'll sleep 5 to a room, right? You'll get 5, 6, 7 people in a single apartment, and then they'll send a whole bunch of money back home because the amount of money they can make here is so much better than what they can make where they come from. And so this is what the large corporations and the Congress people use against these people coming into America against them. And it's really sad. It's really sad what's happening in this country. And again, we have to talk about it. We got to be willing to talk about these issues. And yeah, you're not xenophobic. Just like if you want to talk about the underclass, black people, urban people, all these kind of things, like these people are basically left for dead by our billionaire class, by our congressional class. there's not many programs or incentivized programs to help these people get hired by their local businesses, right? There's no incentive to, like, tax credits for business owners to help us to bring these people in and educate them on how to do real work and make real money. Because again, it's easier to bring the third world people in here. They don't bitch about anything. They're trained to work. They don't care about environmental issues. They're not trying to sue you. They don't use tons of profanity. They're not listening to bullshit music all the time. They're not on their phone ever. And they're just a better class of worker. But we don't want to train the people that we have here. It's just easier to bring those people in here. It's a really fucked up system, and someone's got to be willing to talk about it. Otherwise, it's just never going to get fixed. So, okay, Scott again. I see. I'm a tradesman. Let's see. I'm a tradesman economically. I was making more money back in the '80s than I do now. I've worked almost every day. I live paycheck to paycheck. Almost every trade I present, I guess I live paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, well, again, living paycheck to paycheck isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the thing has changed between now and the '80s. And again, I was born in '79, so give me some rope here. What's changed between now and the '80s is that employers don't respect their employees anymore because, again, they have access to the third world, right? When you send everyone to college, well, guess what? You can just take the best and the brightest of the labor pool, and you don't have to train them, right? You can let the colleges pay for it, let the employees pay for it, and then you can have your pick of the litter. What's happened today is the employees jump from job to job to job to job to job. Employees are looking to sue their employer. There isn't the relationship that we had back in the '80s where employers invested in people right out of high school. Employers wanted your son to come work for them, wanted your daughter to come work for them, and the employer took care of the employee, right? There were things like pensions. There was a decent wage, right? There was decent benefits. And it used to be you could drink on the job if you wanted, right? There used to be things like, now I'm going to go off the rails here. Hold on. There were perks to working that weren't so cumbersome, right? That made work fun, right? You could go out with your employees and not risk being sued. You didn't have sexual harassment training all the time, implicit bias training. People weren't looking for racism and sexism. And it was just a very different time. And what work is today and what employment is today, like, everyone's just out to fuck everyone else. And it's horrible. And again, when you have access to the third world, guys, guess what? Employers are never going to value you unless you have a very specific skill that they can use. Some people would say exploit, but that they can use, right? And as soon as they're done with you, guess what? You're gone. And the employee does the same thing. There's no loyalty from the employee, right? The employee is like, well, fuck it. I can go make a little bit of money over here, a little bit of extra money. My employer doesn't want to pay me anything more. Maybe they can't, by the way. I'm just going to go work over there. So it used to be employees and employers had a relationship together. Each got something from each other and they valued each other. And now it's gone. It's all gone. And I've worked for companies it still exists. My company, it still exists. And if we had more small businesses in America, again, this would come back. And this is why we have to change the kind of businesses that we promote here in America. And until we change that, guys, it's just going to be nothing but everyone going to college, everyone getting a STEM degree, everyone getting into marketing, finance, and outsourcing. Because again, if you're going to be a successful MBA, number got to go up. And so fuck the employee, go outsource to the third world. Fuck benefits, bring in the third world here, and these guys will work for nothing, right? Or not nothing. They'll work for it doesn't matter if they got a nice break room, doesn't matter if they've got, great EPA, great workplace. They'll just come work, doesn't matter. So it's a twisted system we've promoted here in America. And it's getting, I mean, honestly, guys, it's getting worse. So if we don't make some of the changes that I'm going to be talking about, it's going to continue to go down this road where, again, everyone you guys elect does nothing that you want. And you guys you're all going to end up on welfare. As soon as the robots come in, you guys are done. Every normal person in America, every average person in America will cease to be important. And therefore, they'll put you on welfare. They'll put you on UBI. You'll get an apartment. You'll get, 3 meals a day. You'll get all the Netflix you want. You'll get all the digital products that you guys want. They'll deliver food to you guys. They'll implement things called social credit scores. And again, if you're not a good UBI recipient, they'll cut off some of your UBI. Maybe they'll put you in one of these 15-minute cities. If you're not a good citizen, they won't let you leave the 15-minute city, right? You want to take your car, you don't own a car, you can't afford a car, right? Because again, you're on UBI. You're gonna have to take Ubers and Tesla cars everywhere. And hey, if you're not a good little citizen, guess what? Maybe that car doesn't show up, or maybe you lose access to that car. Maybe you lose access to certain kinds of content on Netflix. Where it goes, guys, is really bad unless we get back to working in America with Americans for Americans. Because guess what, guys? Big businesses only get more powerful. Finance only get more powerful. The college institutions, academia, only get more powerful, right? less and less turnover in Congress, the same people are in government, means that the politicians are bought off by the same large mega corporations. It's a big problem, dude. All right, I probably ran my mouth enough on that one. All right, let's keep going. Oh, Luke knows is the corps that have the best jobs abroad, and the kept wages low. It's not immigrants taking jobs. It's all about paying the lowest prevailing wage possible. And I'm here to tell you guys that this whole wage discussion when it comes to illegal immigrants, I think you guys are off base. People are so hung up on wages. It's a lot more nefarious than wages, because truth is that people that roof houses, these guys get paid by the square, and from what I understand, they make really good money. And again, most of them are illegal, but they do this backbreaking work, and they're actually paid really well, because it's not the wages that a lot of these guys are circumventing. The thing that they're circumventing are things like workman's comp insurance, right? They're circumventing things like healthcare. They're circumventing things like dental. They're circumventing things like 401k. They're circumventing all of the labor laws, right? They're circumventing all of the rules around employing people in America, which allows them to operate at a lower price point, right? Pay the illegal a good wage. He's not going to say anything. Therefore, all the rules and regulations that everyone else has to operate under don't apply, right? And if that doesn't work, then you manufacture it all in the third world, where all of our rules in America do not apply here, guys. So I don't think the wage is as much of the issue. It probably has an impact. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but there's a lot of other things that I don't hear enough people talk about. And again, one of the reasons we really struggle in America to grow this country to what it used to be is because of all the red tape, right? The permitting, the inspections, the QA, the land studies, right? All the stupid design work that we do here. Like, we just spend way too much time doing everything, and we end up with not having anything, right? Everything takes too long. Everything's over budget. I told you guys before, we built the Empire State Building in a year, right? I use that as an example of what we can do, right? We did this back around the turn of the century. I think it was the 30s. You remember that bridge in Baltimore, Maryland, that got hit by that barge? They haven't even designed that fucking thing. It's been 2 years, right? This is the problem in America, guys. We can't do anything in this country. It takes too long. And again, we have, if you guys look at what's called the Code of Federal Regulations, this is essentially the rules that all of us business owners in America have to operate under. Back in the 50s, there was like 5,000 of these things. Today, there's over 58,000 of them. Do you guys feel safer today, right? Are we making more shit than we used to? Is everything getting better? Because I don't think that it is, So that's what I think it is. That wages are a problem, but there's a lot of other problems. So, okay, let's see who we got in here. This is Russell Dixon says, give it the program, Chad. America needs workers. We can't all be CEOs. 100%, dude. We can't all be business owners. We can all be a version of a business owner, though. And again, I never graduated high school. I figured this thing out by getting really good at something and then finding the right people to then make this thing happen. And it happened, and I think more people can do it. All right, Sussy, who's a Sussy Mix Susface, great name. Congress doing his job. What color is the sky in your world? Yeah, I know. Chad says, Russell, I don't disagree, but your thoughts that if someone doesn't work with their hands is less than is just bullshit. Yeah, this is the thing, guy. Like, everybody needs everybody. But again, while they distracted us with academics and going to college, right, to get that office job, that CEO job, what happened was they funneled all your jobs to the third world, and then they brought the third world in here. And now everyone's going like, what the fuck, man? I can't make enough money to buy a home. I can't make enough money to do what Eric did when he was 21, which was buy his first house, right? I can't afford to have kids. Having sex to have babies doesn't seem to work because kids are wildly expensive. So everyone's just banging for the fun of banging. And again, we got no people, right? If you look at things like Social Security, again, all the boomers and all the people that say, I paid into the system, what they don't realize is that there's nobody behind them to pay into that system. The boomers are living longer than ever. Healthcare is more expensive than ever, and there's no one to pay for that shit. And truth is that Medicare and Social Security are basically Ponzi schemes. If you don't have people paying into it to pay for the people that are getting benefits, the system doesn't work. And you can't convince these people to take less. You can't convince anyone to take less for anything. Everyone just wants more, and we got less people. So guess what? Capitalism isn't going to work unless you bring the third world in or you outsource to the third world. And that's where we're at, guys. So we got to fix this thing. So again, I love all the comments, guys. I appreciate everyone hanging out and putting their feedback in here. I do want to get to what I got here. So let's do a couple more comments and then I'm going to start reading this. All right. Without those hands, there is no product. Without administration, there is no plan. Yes. And so what you're saying, Mikhail, I know you're an SAP person, right? So what you're saying is absolutely correct when you're operating at scale. And this is what everyone tells us that we have to do. Again, prices come down when you operate at scale. And there's a little bit of truth to that. But again, when suddenly scale becomes operating scale in China, scale becomes operating a team of designers here in America while making all the shit in the third world, that scale is wrong, right? That scale produces a bunch of thinkers and a bunch of designers and a bunch of data analysts, a bunch of brand strategists. It does not produce people that make shit, right? It does not produce more businesses that then you can pass down to your kids, right? It does not produce people that then teach the other people how to do things right out of high school. What you end up with is you end up with the cycle of people that are told to go to college, that then hire people that go to college, right? That then tell people, hey, go to college. And you end up with the cycle which we have today, which is, again, everything's made in the third world. And if you don't want to work for the wage that your mega corporation wants to pay, well, we'll bring the third world in here and they'll work for that wage. So we got a lot of problems. It does take all kinds of people to make the world go round. But like I said, I've been around long enough. I've worked for enough large corporations in places like aerospace to understand that scaling is a good thing. But we got too many large corporations that have bought up the small companies, have stymied innovation, right? Have basically made our people dumber as a society by convincing everyone that going to college is the only way to get smarter, right? You can't get smarter by operating in the economy. Like, you're too dumb to understand that if number don't go up, then that's bad for everybody. Like, the economy doesn't work that way. So anyway. All right, see, Chad's in your game. Okay, key to small business is learning from other successful. But yes, 100%. To become a better administrator of a business in addition to doing your business. Yes, 100%. You need to be able to work in the business and then work on the business. As your business grows, you go from working in it to working on it, right? And that's fine. And you have to do those kind of things, but you have to train more people to think like that, right? And you do want people that just want to do the same thing every day, but we have to get more people to think more broadly. What happened with academia, and again, you guys tell me if you agree with this. Hit the like button if you agree with this. What happened in academia ever since about 2005 is that we created hyper specialization in this country, right? Instead of having well-rounded people, instead of having someone that can do 5 or 6 different things really well, we said, hey, we're going to train you, we're going to educate you, you're going to do this 1 or 2 things really well, and you're going to make a shit ton of money because you're hyper specialized, right? Think about like a doctor, right? You got the general practitioner, right? And then you got the person that's, hyper specialized in this specific kind of surgery or this specific type of cancer. And those guys charge a fortune for their work. Well, that doesn't really translate into the real world. And unfortunately, we got a lot of people today. They got a lot of really great hyper specialization, but there's no work for that anymore. And so then what do? They could go actually learn something in the real world, but no, they're trained to become hyper specialized. So guess what? They're going to go back to college and then they're going to learn another thing that's hyper specialized. And we're going to end up with what we have today, which is $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, and no one can make enough money to pay off their debt, buy a home, buy a car, have a family, have a dog, whatever, all those things. And it's a bad deal. All right, Wasteland Games, man, good name. Okay, get rid of the rich first. Well, you need the rich. Again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but the rich are what keep me in business. The rich are what made me able to afford everything I've been able to afford in my entire life, which, because I worked in the private jet industry, rich people love jets, So again, average wage in aviation is something like $70,000 a year. Okay. And that's a guy, no education, just got really good at making furniture, made tons of money, worked out great, So you need rich people. Rich people are not the problem. Your guys' problem is government. Your guys' problem is the ethics and the morals behind the MBA class, right? These people, these titans of industry that think that as long as the number go up, it's good for everyone. These people are a cancer on this country. And it's government and it's academia, guys. And again, I lose people when I start talking shit on academia because everyone thinks that college is the greatest thing ever. But the truth is that college is good for smart people, right? College is good for a very specific group of things, but we tried to make it a catch-all for everyone. Like, oh, you're a fucking idiot like me. Well, go to college. You'll get super smart, and then you'll come out and make a lot of money. The truth is that no, I'm not super smart. I should not go to college. I should go find a blue collar job, learn all I can from the people in that blue collar job, and then, work my way up, work my salary up, work the things that I do up so that I'm more valuable to the people that I work for. Maybe I could start my own small business, right? That's really how it's supposed to work. And we bastardized how people grow in their careers. We bastardized how businesses operate in this country. And again, by letting large corporations and CEO MBA types outsource the work to the third world or bring the third world in this country, it's screwed over a lot of people. So, okay, one more comment, guys. I'm going to start reading what I got here. All right, let's go to again. Wasteland Gomez is in here. We'll do two comments. Wasteland Gomez says 60 should be retirement age. Capitalism wants you to work until you are no longer usable. Then they throw you away. So that's an interesting comment. I always hear people always say people are always looking for a way to get out of the grind. Personally, I'll work till the day I die. I don't ever see myself wanting to get out of the grind unless I'm just physically unable to do it. And then I'll just do design work all the time, or I'll just run my company from home. I mean, I could actually do that. But what happens is that everyone is looking to take from somebody else to then give to themselves, right? Or take from this class, give to another class. Truth is that we need more people that are willing to do the work, to see value in the work. Because again, I'm not saying this correctly. Let me back up. It takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. When you have people that want to retire at 60, and then you got people that never want to retire, right? You got people that want to retire at 50. My parents retired at 55, okay, because they were hyper successful. When you do all the right things and you want to retire early, that's great. Society shouldn't pay for it. When you want to retire a little bit later in life because you were an office worker, maybe you were a knowledge worker, maybe you cut hair, you stood on your, well, I shouldn't say cut hair. Let's just say you were a white collar worker. We'll make it real simple. If you're a white collar worker, you have the ability to work a lot longer than a blue collar worker. Your retirement age should be a lot longer than a blue collar worker. Okay. The reason for that is because everyone knows at this point, blue collar workers take a hit, right? Like yesterday, I was over at Chipotle eating lunch in my car, and I'm watching these guys doing concrete work, right? They were basically stacking bricks, right? They were making masonry walls, and I'm watching these guys. And here's the thing, guys. It was a crew of 8 guys, all white, which you never see on a job site. All but 2 of these guys were in their 60s, right? They all had grayed out beards, and all of them walked, really kind of rough, and concrete's a tough work, a tough trade, masonry, things like that, stonemasons. And truth is, it's wrecked these guys' body. And I hate to tell you guys that the guy that's working in an office for 30 years and the guy that's doing concrete work for 30 years, they ain't the same. I'm sorry. From a sheer retirement standpoint, you got to let those people retire early because, again, what they did was devastating to their bodies. You can't get around it no matter what you do. The guy that sat in an office all day, the worst thing he's got, maybe he's got carpal tunnel and lower cross syndrome from sitting like this forever. That's it. You can't tell me that these people are the same. But we go on a number, which is age, and I think that's the thing that we got to fix, right? You want to retire early? Do some blue-collar work. You'll get retirement a lot earlier. But again, we value the CEO, MBA type. We value the people that goes into Congress and does fuck all for 30 years. We value the guy that goes to school and sits in an office and works on marketing and data analysis, right? Maybe works on corporate strategy. We value that more than we value the blue-collar worker, which is where we are today, right? The white-collar worker essentially outsources all the work or brings the work into the third world. Let the third world guys do all the work. They're not going to want retirement. They don't need retirement. They're not even eligible for retirement. So all the more reason, bring those people into work for us. Number go up. Everybody wins. It's really fucked up, guys. All right, Servant, I want to get your comment here because you're a new person. Servant, 1996, Trump. Okay, Trump. Okay, cool. All right, let me get into this 3-phase plan here of what I think would help us to turn this country around. And again, it's not going to fix everything, and it's going to be really difficult. And the pain is the thing that nobody wants, right? If we're all being honest with ourselves, nobody wants to see a crash in the economy. Nobody wants to see a recessionary type situation. The Fed is literally there to smooth all of that stuff out so that it's never possible. But let's go with Eric's pie in the sky dream. Again, small business owner, been in business for 10 years. I got 9 guys work for me. We deliver about 500 pieces a year. We make a lot of furniture right here in St. Louis, Missouri. This is where I'm coming from. Let me get a quick beer on this thing. So, all right, plan passes today in Congress. Congress then has enacts this in the first day of 2027. Okay, this plan goes into effect. Right, here's what we got to do. First thing you got to do is you got to go mandatory e-verify. Mandatory e-verify. Okay, first quarter of 2027, every employer, 50 employees and greater, has to do e-verify. Right, so that's going to make it really difficult for your meat packing companies. It's going to be really difficult for your construction industry. It's really going to hurt the hotel industry. The construction industry, not so much. We'll get to them, right? Second quarter, you move down to 20 employees, right? Everyone 20 and above, you got to do e-verify mandatory. By the end of the year, all businesses have to do e-verify mandatory, okay? What this does is this means that when someone brings a social security number in, wants to apply for a, say a roofing job, or maybe they want to be a nanny, they want to do whatever. You got to run that number in order to pay them, right? To pay them legally. And again, paying under the table is always going to be a thing. You can't get rid of it, okay? Because again, I'm not one of these people. I don't want CBDCs. We have to have cash. Cash always has to be here. So anyway, these guys have to send that information through E-Verify, which runs through Social Security, runs through the Department of Homeland Security, runs through the IRS. So it verifies that you are who you say you are within reason, okay? Once that is put in place, it means that a lot of these places aren't going to be able to hire people. They're really going to struggle, and they're going to bitch, and they're going to cry like, oh my God, this is going to slow my employment down. Oh, it's going to make accounting so expensive. They're going to throw every reason in the book out there. But at the end of the day, what it means, they can't hire illegal labor. That's all it means. And this is what they're terrified of. So you will see a reduction in force in a lot of these industries, right? They'll claim, oh, this is going to crush my industry. Houses are going to go through the roof. Daycare is going to go through the roof. Restaurants are going to go through the roof. Hotels are going to go through the roof, right? They'll tell you all this stuff. Well, what happens immediately, and this is what they won't tell you, is the wages for all the people that are left in those industries climb 10 to 20% in the first year. Because all these businesses, it's not like the owners of these massive corporations are like, God, I got to get down and get to work. They're not going to do it. They're going to raise their prices because they're going to start paying their people what they have to pay. But their industries will crater, right? You're talking 10, maybe 20% slowdown in business, which is terrible if you're a guy making $1 million a year sitting in an office, networking with people in this industry. Great if you're the worker that's stuck around who's going to do the real work. You're going to see a real increase in your wages, okay? So E-Verify is probably the most important thing, needs to happen right away. Great for the American worker, terrible for the corporation. Absolutely, it's death for a lot of these corporations, but they will change their business model. Prices will go up in the short term, and that's just how it'll have to be. So, okay. Second thing, this is something that people have tried in the past but has failed. It always fails because, again, it's Congress, and Congress doesn't do anything that would actually help people, okay? What you have to do is you have to put what's called God, I had to write it down. It's called an import substitution tax, right? And truth is this is actually a different way to do tariffing, okay? And the reason it's different is, think like this. So I import brass hardware from India, right? I got 2 manufacturers over there. We design it all here in St. Louis. We send it over there. They cast it. They laser cut it. They do whatever they got to do to make this hardware. When I bring that hardware back into America, I have to pay, I think it was like a 26% tariff. I think it's down to 15% now because it's India, right? And this is what the Trump administration said they were doing. Now I think it's a blanket 15%. So I got to pay this on the import, the business owner. I have to pay for it, okay? I gotta make sure I say this right. What an import substitution tax does is it looks at the business's profit and loss statement. It looks at their K-10 statement. And what it does is it teases out where the COGS are, right? Cost of goods sold. Michaela, you in the SAP, you're going to understand this stuff. It looks at where are you making your product, right? Where are you sending your invoices for products and services, right? So are you sending your invoices to American businesses to buy material, or are you sending your invoices into Shenzhen to buy material, right? Are you sending your invoices out for services from American businesses or Vietnamese services, right? So it looks at all this stuff and it puts a 50 to 100% tax on those services, right? Those receipts, okay? So what that does is it basically crushes foreign manufacturing, right? At the income statement level, right? It's not a flat tariff, right? So basically, if you want to bring stuff in from the third world, you can bring in lots of materials, no problem, right? But if you're bringing in, labor, if you're bringing in, I'm trying to think of the exact word we're looking for here. If you bring in basically assembled goods, right? That kind of stuff is going to face a tax on your income statement every quarter, okay? This is a very different way to tax people. And what would immediately happen is you would see a reciprocal type situation from all these other individual countries. But companies like Nike, Restoration Hardware, these companies would get absolutely crushed. And their only solution would be to then produce stuff here in America. Right now, what happens to all the money that comes in, right? We saw what happened with the tariffs. The tariff money came in, what did they say, like $180 billion? Like Trump's always like, oh, we're going to $600 billion, $1 trillion. I mean, he was throwing numbers out there that were ridiculous. The federal judge said it was $180 billion. So now I'm going to get my check back on tariffs, which is awesome, by the way. I'll get a couple grand back, so I'll take that. But what happens is that when this comes into play, these businesses will then have to pay that tax every year, which they're not going to want to do. They're going to find all kinds of ways to get around that tax. But you're basically going to get in $400 to $600 billion a year is what this would bring in using current numbers. And again, I ran this through Grok, guys. This isn't me crunching numbers here at home. I just ran it through Grok. Take it for what it's worth. Okay, what can you guys do with that $400 to $600 billion? Right? Could we do things like, I just wrote a few things down. Could we have some more trade schools, right? Could we create some more blue collar programs? Because there's a massive incentive to make things here in America again. Seems like we should probably incentivize blue collar work. Maybe we could pay for some universal health care. It's a lot of money, maybe we could get some small business loans going on. Again, we got this bullshit thing called the small business loan. Like, good fucking luck getting a loan from those guys. We could maybe put some housing credits in. Maybe some people want to actually be able to buy homes. Maybe we come up with a way to buy down rates, help more homeowners get into homes, right? Get companies like Lennar and D.R. Horton say maybe we could through the government pay 2% buy down on mortgages so that then Lennar and D.R. Horton could sell more homes to more people, right? Other things like maybe we could get some universal child care in here. What would that cost? Universal child care would be, that would really help out a person that's making a low or middle class living. I mean, what's healthcare cost these days? Like when I did healthcare, it cost me $150 a week. When my kid was really young. I don't know what it costs you guys today, but I've heard some people told me it costs as much as $2,000 a month for a single fucking kid. Like, that is unaffordable. It's unacceptable. And again, we got all the money in the world for bombs. We got all the money in the world to send our Navy halfway across the world, but we don't got any money for universal child care. We don't got any money here for healthcare. We got any money for nothing for Americans. We got nothing for people that might want to start a small business. We got nothing for people that might want to get into a trade. If we could tax these people on their foreign production, it would incentivize them to then make things here, right? And same deal, like what Trump got right about tariffs is that he basically was starting a negotiation. He says, hey, you don't want to pay a tariff to America? Start building shit here and you don't have to pay any tariff. That was a fantastic deal. This is something that could provide a similar solution. But what this does is it goes after individual companies, right? It goes after them exporting their jobs to the third world, bringing stuff back into America, and then selling it to you guys for massive markups. So I think that's something that would be kind of cool. So that's an import substitution tax, right? The other thing we could do is you could do a foreign carbon tax, right? And again, I'm not one of these people that believes in carbon taxes. I think they're kind of bullshit. I think they're kind of something that crunchy people like to do to hurt large businesses. And the truth is you can't really hurt large businesses with taxes. They just pass it on to the employers. And then they pay lobbyists to then give them carve-outs in the tax code so that they're unaffected, right? That's ultimately what happens. But what's called a carbon border tax is another thing that you could do. Like simply charge an extra 20% to bring stuff in to America if you are an American business, right? So if you don't want to hurt foreign manufacturers of stuff, right? Again, foreign companies can sell all the shit they want into America, no problem. But if you're an American business and you want to sell your foreign-made shit back into America, these would hurt companies like Nike, Apple, Restoration Hardware. These companies would be fucked. And you could have it just hit these companies, but then they're going to raise their prices. Oh, we got to pay this stuff. We got to raise our price. Okay, we're going to get to the profit margins of these companies so that you guys understand this is something that would actually work, right? Okay, other things we could do. Go back to my list here. All right, so I talked about the profit tax for outsourcing goods. I talked about what it does is it hits people in their margins, okay? So I want you guys to understand how much money these companies make by utilizing third world, okay? So companies like Restoration Hardware. Restoration Hardware has a 44% margin on all the furniture that they make over in Vietnam and China, okay? Now, this is not net profit, right? This is just the margin minus cost of goods sold, right? The materials, the production, these kind of things. It's not all their American labor, okay? Companies like, let's see here, Apple. Apple has a 40% margin on their products, right? This is over all their products. Apple has a 70% margin on their digital products, okay? These guys are making money hand over fist, right? Nike has a 50% profit margin on its stuff that makes in the third world, right? What they do with that margin, guys, you have to understand this, is they then hire American workers to do work, right? Which in and of itself is a good thing. But what they're hiring is they're hiring people like Michael Jordan to push their brand, right? They're buying private jets with that money. They are hiring data analysts. They're hiring market and research strategists. They're hiring branding experts. They're hiring marketing experts. They're hiring vice presidents. They're hiring C-suite executives. They're hiring designers. They're hiring people of this ilk, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But when that's all that you hire, Therein lies the problem. This is what I've been talking about this entire conversation. The culture within America has to change because, again, all these people, these jobs are only possible. It's only possible to pay an ROI strategist, to pay a marketer and an advertiser. If you have the delta that I'm talking about, the $250 an hour you're paying the guy in China to make the shit, and the $32.50 an hour you should be paying the American worker, right? So when you allow this to happen, you end up with people that do these bullshit jobs like strategists and analysts, right? Again, hard to teach somebody how to be a fucking analyst. Hard to pass your skills down to your children when you're just in marketing, right? It's very hard to do this kind of stuff. And then you end up with a culture that doesn't know how to make anything. You end up with a culture who doesn't value quality. You end up with a culture that's more worried about the price of things than the quality of things, right? No one knows how to fix things. No one knows how to repair things. Houses go through the roof because, again, most people don't know how to fix sheetrock, don't want to deal with putting in new floors. So they can only buy expensive homes. They can only buy new homes. They can only buy new cars. And you guys see how this works? When you bring a country back together that knows how to make things, that values real work, that's not full of bullshit jobs, it changes the entire culture of your society, guys. So, okay. So I want you guys to understand just how much money these guys are making. And net profit, you want to know exactly what they pass on to their shareholders and their C-suite executives. Apple makes 21% in net profit. Okay. It's the most of any company that's ever existed next to Google. Okay. Nike does 6.5% a year, and Restoration Hardware does 3.5% a year. Okay. This is what they pass on to the people that own stock and the people that manage, right? Managers generally get paid on performance. You guys don't. You all collect a fucking wage. You clock in at 8, you clock out at 5. You're paid for your time. That's how most people are paid in America. So, kind of interesting stuff. So there's things we could do to really help this problem with America by implementing some of these things, okay? So this is phase one. I went over phase one. Phase one was mandatory e-verify, and then profiting on the manufacturing of taxing the profits of the products that are made in the third world, okay? This is called a profit margins tax. So you got that right. Phase two, right? So we got to rebuild the middle class. Once you bring in all this revenue and you crush the manufacturing of what's done in the third world, well, guess what? These businesses are going to want to make money somehow. They're going to start hiring American. They're going to start putting together programs to train people, getting people out of high school, training them while they're super young. They don't cost a lot of money, and they're going to start building things up. Well, then you're going to need more factories, right? You're going to need more trade schools. You're going to need more people that know how to do shit. And guess what? Wages in America go up. They go up for everyone that does this kind of work because, again, you can't send it to the third world. It's prohibitively expensive to manufacture in the third world, so you will manufacture it here. And then if you do e-verify crushes the third world coming into America, right? Companies like Smithfield, companies like Hyatt Corporation, companies like Tyson Food, right? It crushes all these places. And what happens is you end up with, again, American workers back in demand, right? Demanding American wages, demanding American benefits, demanding American workplaces, right? So our regulations suddenly matter again. Our tort regulations suddenly matter again. Our EPA regulations suddenly matter again. Our OSHA regulations suddenly matter again. Okay, so again, the system that we have here in America has to work because, again, the people that normally circumvent the system can no longer do it. Okay, that takes us into phase two. So now what happens is Congress then has to get the cost to start a business down, which they don't want to do. Every time you add a regulation for OSHA, right? There's nothing fucking college people love more than anything. It's regulations. Clean air, clean drinking water, saving the spotted owl, whatever. They love all that shit, right? Because they're so virtuous. They've been taught to care so much. Meanwhile, all their shit's made in the third world. The biggest fucking group of hypocrites I've ever met in my life. But when you force all of them to hire Americans, guess what? Suddenly they're like, fuck me, man, this is really expensive to hire people. We better get the regulations down here. Like, oh my God, it's super expensive to have the most top-notch environment to work in ever. Let's get the regulations. Oh my God, power is really expensive here in America. We should probably make more power stations. You guys see how this works? It starts to snowball, and suddenly regulations, workplace protections, worker protections, people don't like this. It starts to come down, and then more people can get hired. More of the money goes into the worker, less of it goes into the regulation, right? More businesses can prop up because it doesn't cost a fucking arm and a leg to get a factory, right? It doesn't cost an arm and a leg to put in a spray booth like I had to pay for, right? It doesn't cost an arm and a leg to get electricians in here to run the right kind of power to run all the tools that we have here, okay? The regulations are a death killer, right? All the fucking inspectors that have to come in. Every time I want to get new power put in, I got to have some guy buy in on the work that's been done by the guy who's the actual professional, okay? Again, some people think this is BS. I think it just contributes to the cost of everything. Okay, so phase two. We're into phase two. You guys following me so far? You kind of see where this is going? I will get into comments. Let me run through phase two. We'll do comments, okay? Talking makes the throat dry. Okay, phase two. All right. Phase two is essentially rebuilding the middle class, right? So what you got to do is you have to incentivize hiring middle class people. You have to incentivize hiring the poor. You have to incentivize hiring the people that have been generationally impoverished, the people that we've forgotten about that put on fucking welfare for 3 generations, that have been on SNAP for multiple generations, that literally have kids so they can get more tax breaks and more fucking welfare from the American taxpayer. We get all those people making money. We get them all training, right? We teach them something because guess what? When you don't have the third world coming in, well, suddenly it makes sense to maybe spend a little bit of money on the guy that's been on welfare forever, right? When you don't have access to the third world or it's prohibitively expensive, well, maybe we got to teach some people some shit here in America and maybe help them to do something to, get some respect by having a job, right? Get a little bit of dignity by seeing what it is that they do every day, right? Instead of waiting for that fucking money to roll in on your Snap card, maybe you go work some overtime, make a little bit of extra money, buy something nice for yourself, right? There's a lot of dignity and pride that comes with work, and we've forgotten about that in America. We've told everyone that going to college is where your dignity and pride is, and they've forgotten that, no, it actually comes from framing houses, right? It comes from digging out foundations on the job site, right? It comes from cleaning auger bits. It comes from striping roads. It comes from a lot of other things other than going and getting a college degree, okay? So the first thing we do, we incentivize bringing this in, okay? So what you do is you essentially come up with a 30% tax credit for training apprentices, right? What are apprentices, right? Everyone thinks of that as being a union thing, right? The truth is, you know what an apprentice is? Apprentice is just someone that doesn't fucking know anything. That's all it is. It's just a newbie. I call these are the high school kids that come out of high school. You want to come and learn furniture? Great. You're an apprentice. You're a Padawan if you guys like Star Wars, This is all apprentices, but you give the businesses a tax credit to teach these people, right? Not only do we pay them a salary, the government's going to give the taxpayer, the business owner, a tax credit to train these people. Guess what? You don't need the people to then pay for their own education. You don't need people to go massively in debt to go get a bullshit degree that some fucking guidance counselor in high school told them was going to pay them all the money in the world. You don't need the colleges incentivize them to get a bullshit degree like basket weaving or gender studies, right? You break all this stuff up. You get people doing real work again, right? Again, you want to go get a gender studies degree? Great. You're going to pay for it with your own money. Or you can come build furniture, right? Maybe you can come design furniture for me, right? Maybe you can come deliver furniture. Maybe you want to learn how to paint. Maybe you want to learn how to sand furniture. Maybe you want to learn how to assemble furniture. I can teach you all that kind of stuff. And guess what? I'm going to pay you for it. You're not just going to go pay somebody else to do it. And if you do it for me for 4 years, you'll probably make just as much as you would have made when you came out of college, So no debt. System kind of makes sense, but you have to incentivize the businesses to become the trade schools. The reason people do trade school and the reason people are professors is because they never were really good at the work. They weren't good enough at the work to make it pay, so they went and became teachers. That's how I see it. You guys may disagree with me, but those who can't do, teach. Very common saying. Okay, so you got to get these tax breaks, right? So you got to incentivize trade school, right? So you take the money away from places like UCLA, fucking Stanford, all these woke places that we have out in California. You take the money away from what I got here, WashU, where they're, supposedly trying to cure cancer. They're never going to cure a fucking thing. What they're doing is they're just continuing to draw on that research money that you and I pay for, and the cycle just repeats. They bring in all the foreigners from China, and they take all their money, right? And they take our tax money to pay for the colleges, and then they put all that money in this big thing called the trust fund, right? That trust fund, they then used to buy stocks, right? And they grow their endowments. They have these massive endowments. It's absolutely disgusting what these colleges do, but you yank their money out. If they want to train doctors, they want to train lawyers, they want to train engineers, they want to train physicists and scientists, great. Everything else, gone. It goes to trade schools. Trade schools are free because guess what? It takes about 1/10 the money to train a tradesperson as it does to train some bullshit college-educated person who's going to learn whatever gender studies and basket weaving, learn about Native Americans and, I got a master's in fucking history from the year 1413 to 1452. Like there are actual degrees like this. And it's just insane what we allow to happen in these colleges. They are completely unregulated. Nobody calls them out for what they are, but they are a scourge on the taxpayer, guys, an absolute scourge. And they worked for a long time, but once you guaranteed the loans and you just kept handing out money to people, well, suddenly people don't want to go to school for STEM. That's boring. I want to go to school for, I want to go learn about the Native American Indians, right? Or I want to go learn about fashion, or I want to go learn about these things that don't actually have a great ROI. And then you and I end up paying for it when they can't pay their student loan back, right? When they end up on welfare because they can't make enough money to make the numbers work. We all pay for it. So you got to get rid of the money out of colleges. It's got to happen unless you're in a very specific group of people. Bring the work back to people that work with their hands, because truth is, most people are going to end up working with their hands. They're not going to end up working with their minds. We got to get right as a culture that not everyone is a thinker. Not everyone is a knowledge worker. Not everyone is going to have a college degree, a doctorate, an MBA, whatever. Not everyone's going to have that, and it's supposed to be that way. So you don't get smarter by going to college, guys. I'm here to tell you this. All right, so trade schools come back, all right? You got to sell the dream, right? College isn't the only path. We got to bring back the idea that, again, working with your hands pays. We got to tell the stories, right? Again, never graduated high school. Bought my first home when I was 21. Always drive German cars, right? Started a business. Have the nicest house in the area where I live. My house, panoramic view overlooking the Mississippi River. You can have nice things. My wife literally gets to work from home. It's amazing. She wears Chanel. I wear bullshit old clothes. The dream works. Working with your hands works. You have to sell the idea that doing this is real work, real money, and you don't have to go to college in order to make it in the world, okay? Last thing, and then we'll go through comments, guys. You have to target 50% of U.S. Consumed goods made here by 2032, all right? So what you got to do is you have to drive up and incentivize the production of American-made shit. And you got to do that through advertising. You got to do that through whatever, government programs, whatever you got to do to incentivize it. Hey, you know what? It pays to make stuff here in America, right? You can make it in the third world. Here's what you're going to pay. You can make it in America. Here's what you're going to pay. Here's all the companies that make things in America, and you got to bring back shame. It's the last thing you got to do. You got to say, hey, you know what? You want to go buy a pair of Nikes? Well, guess what? That company employs slave labor. Oh, yeah, and you're paying a ton of money for it. How do you feel about that? Why don't you guys go buy New Balance down in North Carolina? They still make shoes in America. Same price, but you're employing Americans. You have to do this with every company in America. Companies like Snap-on. Snap-on used to make all their shit in America. I don't think they even make tools in America. I think they started outsourcing it as well. Like, you got to shame these companies into coming back. Companies like Harley Davidson, great American brand, make all their fucking motorcycles abroad, right? You have to shame people into making stuff here in America. Yes, you will pay more for it in the beginning, but wages will come up and you will be able to afford it. Your dollar will go farther. All right, that's the end of phase 2. Okay, let's go through comments, then we'll go through phase 3, and we'll see if I can wrap this thing up in 90 minutes. Okay, guys, I appreciate hanging out. Sorry, I know I'm long-winded here. Okay, let's see where we're at in the comments. So we got a lot. Holy shit, guys, we got a lot of comments. Holy cow. I'm sorry, guys, I ran my mouth too long. I appreciate you guys hanging in with me. Okay, we're gonna go back about halfway and let's start reading. All right, we got who's this? Ben 9291. It was cheaper when the world economy stopped and there was no demand for oil during COVID. Trump had nothing to do with it. I'm gonna read your comment one more time there, Ben. Okay, it was cheaper when the world economy stopped and there was no demand for oil during COVID. Trump had nothing to do with it. Okay, do you understand why everything was cheaper during COVID and why everything is unaffordable now? Okay, again, I never graduated high school, dude. You printed $11 trillion, right? You told everyone that they didn't have to pay rent, they didn't have to repay their student loans. You actually tried to sue companies through OSHA to mandate people not going to work. The states gave out tons of free money. The federal government gave out tons of free money. Then everyone took all that money. And guess what? Here's the thing about people like me, middle-class people, poor people, we're not very good with money. So what do we do with that money? Instead of investing in real estate, instead of investing in assets, instead of investing in things that would help us later in life, we bought Nikes. We bought baseball cards. We bought Louis Vuitton handbags. We bought expensive food. We bought cars. We bought all kinds of things, right? And then after the hangover wore off from COVID, guess what happened to the cost of everything? When everyone has money to buy everything that they want and there's no people making shit, poof, the cost of everything goes through the roof, right? You saw it with stocks. You saw it with literally, there was nothing that was unaffected by the cost of everything through printing money. So when you printed all that money, like, everyone fucked themselves when they agreed to stay home because, again, the experts told them that it wasn't safe. If you were deemed non-essential, unless you were a mega corporation, you guys notice all the mega corporations during COVID stayed open. All the mom and pops went out of business. That's why all your guys' shit was expensive. It had nothing to do with oil, had nothing to do with supply chains. It had to do with the printing of money and thus the insane demand. Demand we haven't seen since World War II. And that's why everything got expensive, and it's not coming down, guys. It's not going to come down until we get a recession. And again, no one likes when I say that, so I won't talk about it. But man, I appreciate your comment, dude. I just happen to disagree. Okay, Yogi Bear, except it's 100 times cheaper to have robots build all 100%. And again, I tell you guys as an employer, like I have no incentive to hire any of you guys. Like, why would I hire your whiny fucking asses? Like, why would I want to? You tell me, oh, I got family, I got job, or I got a car, I got a house. I need to make this amount of money so I can pay my bills. Robot doesn't need any of that shit, right? The third worlder that comes in here, he's not going to bitch about where I work. He'll work for whatever I want to pay him. He'll work as many hours as I want to pay him. Like, why would I hire you guys? I could outsource to the third world to make shit. Why would I hire you? This is what happens if we incentivize the production of things in the third world or bringing the third world in here instead of working on Americans, helping Americans build up their job skills, help Americans start businesses. You want to crush the corporations? You want to get real innovation in this country? Start making more businesses. Instead of only having fucking a handful of shoe companies, we could have 100 shoe companies. Instead of having a handful of furniture companies, we could have hundreds of furniture companies. It used to be this way. You used to make American wages, making American products and selling them to Americans, and it worked. Again, I always did really well because I worked in the private jet industry. I always worked making American jets, selling to American people, and it worked out great. I made tons of money. We need more of that in America. I'm sorry. It's just how I see it. All right, National Truth Uncensored back in here. Good to see you, dude. Not at all. Okay, we got Ibram F3WIE. No moral basis in capitalism. Why are you complaining? Again, I want it to change. Like more people should want to change. Again, I'm a capitalist. I believe in capitalism, but capitalism has been bastardized. And again, you guys were sold this lie that you're just going to go to college and everything's going to work out. And I'm here to tell you guys that you're not. Those days are over. And we need to get back to building shit here in America because, again, when you implement tariffs, you implement e-verify, you crush the third world where everything is made. You incentivize the third world to then come into America and produce, create American jobs. You kick out the third world from taking all your guys' job, forcing businesses and schools to then teach people in America to do things that are done in America. It's not complicated. So, okay, more comments. This is see Pat Jager. Most say Pat Jager. 6932. Ben got excuse for it. Yeah, man, most people just like to put in comments. They just like to bitch and complain. Oh, that's not going to work. That's bad. Oh, that's not how it works. And it's like, okay, well, tell me how it works. Like let me know what your solution is, and everyone can bat it around. So, all right, inspection is so stupid. It's not that inspection is stupid. Inspection is great. But when you have too much inspection, when you have inspection at every level, what it does is it slows everything down, right? And then when you have inspection at the state, the county, and the city level, it's even worse, guys. And then you throw in federal inspection or approval on top of that, it just slows everything down. And again, why does it take 2 years to design a fucking bridge? It shouldn't. And people say, oh, God, it needs to reflect the society that we have today. Oh, that bridge is 70 years old. Oh, it's like, well, what about the people that have to drive across that bridge? Like, you think they're that fucking worried about having a modern bridge? You think they really want to wait 4 years for you to build a bridge that should take 6 months? I don't think so. Get the bridge built. But no, they want to hire, again, they want to hire designers. They want to hire inspectors. They want to hire planners. They want to hire people to do land impact studies. They want to hire people to make sure that it's not built on racist or indigenous land. You see how this works? They want to make sure that the materials they're going to use for that bridge are eco-friendly. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Who's this? Tony? Tony, dude, thanks for the gift. I appreciate when he gives me gifts. You guys throw gifts and super chats out there. We'll get your comments read right away. But yeah, Tony, again, when we allow society to slow itself down because of our virtue, you fuck over everyone. I mean, absolutely everyone, guys. Like, you slow everything down. Everything gets more expensive. It takes longer to build. Meanwhile, the third world is building themselves up using all of our blood and treasure, using all of our technology, using everything that we've done here in America. Who's this? Another gift from, this is Albert D. Man, appreciate it. Let me get into gifts, guys. I'll say hi to you guys. They're doing all the work in the third world. We're building up our enemies, guys. Like places like China, you guys notice like China's suddenly our biggest enemy, yet we're still sending them all of our shit. If they're such a fucking enemy, why are we stopping producing stuff with them? Why are we stopping the relationship that we have with them? Why are we still incentivizing the production of stuff in China? Like, it doesn't make any sense, So the system's in a lot of trouble, guys. So, okay, a teen can wire 220, 100%. A teen could absolutely wire 220. You guys know how many freaking 220 boxes I've wired my day? How many 200 amp service panels I've wired? This stuff isn't rocket science, I'm here to tell you. But anyway, okay, let's see. Truth, natural, and censored. Oh, come on, bro. All right, dude. A robot can wire to joy. Yeah, wire a robot can. Hopefully, we'll get to that. All right, sorry guys, I'm way behind on comments. I'm gonna come a little bit slower. So who we got in here? This is Tony. This is Tony Alston. Tony Alston 4843 said Lucky Clover. Yeah, guys. Again, I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate everyone participating in this discussion. This is a good one. All right, Son's in here. All right, Son's one of our moderators. Son says, I don't know how exactly it happened, but I know you did it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to other comments. JFK wanted one certain country to not have nukes, immediately dies in 33 parallel north. Son, you're such a Son's got a little bit of a conspiracy bent to him, but I think he's right with a lot of what he says. All right, Malik says everyone with a problem, I'm calling the cops. All right, cool, man. All right, Truth, National Uncensored, son. All I will say is it was the person driving 1,000%. Okay. See, North National Uncensored. I have the video if you'd like to see it. All right. Well, okay. We're talking JFK today. Yogi Bear says lizard people did it. Yeah. All right. National Truth. Sorry, most of my messages aren't about you, but okay, that's cool, man. I'm still gonna read them. Like I said, I go through comments. I just kind of read whatever people are saying. I don't kind of proofread things. If the comments get out of control, I will only look for good comments. But I'm trying to, like I said, I appreciate you guys' time, and I try and respect everyone's time. So I want to make sure that I go through. Okay, sorry, most of my messages aren't about you, but okay, I got your. This we got David Thompson 3415. I haven't seen you, dude. Thanks for being here. Exactly. Tony Alston 4338 is in here. Sent a gift. I appreciate that, dude. Nobody is paying $4 for a roll of toilet paper. I get it. Truth is that most of you guys' toilet paper is actually made in America. You know, you guys might not know this. Companies like Kimberly-Clark, Boise Cascade, these are companies that make they have a lot of the pulp mills that make a lot of the toilet paper. So believe it or not, a lot of the toilet paper in America is actually made here. So again, I come from Oregon. We're the timber industry. Pulp mills are actually very common there. They fucking smell like shit. They're so nasty smelling, but that's what they do. They make paper products, you know. So a little bit info for you guys. Okay. Yogi Bear, watch this. The Earth is the third planet from the sun, right? Third planet implies the people running things are not from Earth. Okay, that's cool. Okay, that's a good comment, Yogi Bear, man. I appreciate it. All right, to everyone is expensive, and the housing market needs to change. Yes, I agree 100% truth. Again, I've talked about that. I literally have a plan to fix the housing market, but it requires the federal government to actually incentivize the movement of homes, right? To align a seller and a buyer. And the best way to do it is to basically, it costs anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 to buy down the rate from 6 to 7% today to get it down to the 4 to 5% range that most people would be willing to lose or to sell one home to go then buy another. The federal government won't do it. They're not interested, but it would actually work. And the truth is that if you guys look at the housing market right now, we're moving about 3 million homes a year. We should be moving closer to 5. What happens with the housing market is that the housing market is actually the largest industry in America, and it's wildly suppressed right now. And again, I know this because I'm in the furniture space, which is we're tethered to the housing market. So if you would incentivize the selling and the purchasing of homes through the federal government, it would cost about $10,000 for that transaction to have a seller and a buyer to buy and sell a home. What would happen is that it creates, for every home that is sold, it creates 0.5 jobs. Those jobs end up paying anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 a year. You end up with a new tax base that then covers the cost of the program, right? It could actually work, but again, no politician's going to do it, because what politicians are looking for is they're looking for getting set amounts of money for programs so that they can then recall on every single year to help them get elected. This program only costs money if it produces results, right? The government only pays for a transaction if a transaction happens. No transaction happens, no money's spent. Government hates that kind of stuff. So, all right, Mikkel Grabgarb says, what do you do after they gonna then get mom to wash the towel or sock? I'm not sure what's going on there. So exactly, look at Japan. Japan's an interesting economy. All right, Albert Diaz, Y4X, the man is speaking gospel. Yeah, I don't know, man. Nap with us, inspection for a job. Why wouldn't they add more money to their pockets? Yeah, 100%. And this is, again, one of these things like when you send 2 generations of people to college, what colleges do is they indoctrinate people into the thing called safety culture, right? They believe that process is good, right? Inspections are good. Safety is good. And inherently, all those things are absolutely true. But what happens is you end up where safety and process are more important than delivering a product on time and on budget. And that's what we have today. That's why everything is exploding out of control, is because you end up with a situation where you got not enough people making the thing and a ton of other people helping to make the thing, right? These are your designers, these are your engineers, these are your QA inspectors, these are your HR departments. These are all these kind of people, administrative people that contribute to the production of a good, but don't actually contribute to the production of a good. Now, if you're in the planning and logistics side and you're bringing material, make sure material shows up on the job site, making sure the workers have what they need to create their widget, that actually makes sense. But a lot of things aren't actually that. They're what we call bullshit jobs. So, all right, let's look at a few more comments. Let's find some good ones here, and then I'm gonna finish up the last phase of this thing, guys, and then I probably need to be done with this conversation. So a few more comments. Power Dynamics, love that one. Yum Yum, gotcha some, man. Great name, and never seen you before. Glad you're here. Okay, yeah, because I want a safe bridge, not a fast bridge. And again, this is what all you guys think. This is the problem with academics, is they think that they forget that we've been building bridges for whatever 150 years at this point. They forget that the bridge that was there before was probably built in 5 months. And when it takes 4 years to do it today, they never think like, oh my God, this is bullshit. They just think, oh, I just want a safe bridge. And so they have no bridge for 4 years. This is the problem with our society today. When you have too many thinkers and not enough doers, thinkers always have time to think, right? Doers always have to sit down and fucking wait for these people to make decisions. Wait for the QA people, wait for the inspector, wait for someone to buy off on this, someone to buy off on that, wait for the material to show up, wait for the material, make sure it's the right material, make sure the material's inspected when it comes in, make sure it's got the right certifications when it comes in. It's just, there are not enough doers in this country, too many thinkers. We've been teaching people to be thinkers and safety pussies for 25 years at this point, and this is where we're at, So again, I appreciate your comment, though. I love your name. All right, David Thompson, 4315. In California, it is such worse. Yeah, I know. I said, I'm from Oregon, man. I watched California poison my state start in the 90s, and then it made its way up to Washington, where the rest of my family lives. And again, I don't even have a desire to go back there. If I'm being completely honest, it's really sad. Okay, truth. Japan has cheap homes because nobody is alive to take them over. Yeah, Japan's got major issues with. You think we have problems with having kids, man? They got it really bad over there. Okay, Yum Yum goes some. Slow progress is lasting progress. Oh my God, dude. Great comment, but you're so off base. It's not even funny. That's like we don't move fast enough in this country. Like that's why everything is so expensive, dude. Like that's one of the reasons we don't have tons of different products in this country. We don't have lots of businesses popping up. We don't have anything in this country that we used to have because again, the progress that we have today is garbage. Do you guys like the progress that we have today? Do you like the progress within your government? Do you like the progress of all your massive corporations? Do you like your only option today being fucking Amazon? Do you like DoorDash and Uber? Does that seem like progress to you guys? It doesn't seem like progress to me. So if that's lasting progress, I don't want anything to do with it. All right, make sure we ask the Native Americans what color they want the bridge to be. Yeah, I know, 100%. Again, it's that's lasting progress. Make sure that it's an inclusive bridge. Because that's what I really care about. I want to make sure that no one's offended when they look at that. That steel structure. All right, Yogi Bear, and maybe we should have maybe we should do a whole bunch of public meetings about whether or not to build a specific kind of bridge. Maybe we should look for a whole bunch of federal grants, a whole bunch of state grants. Maybe we should look to the colleges to tell us how to build a bridge, even though we've been building bridges for 100 years. It's Yogi Bear. Okay, if you pay me $5 million, I'll make sure the bridge is not so racist and all the bugs and dirt is happy. I know. Yeah, that's what they tell. Maybe we'll do another commission to study how to make a bridge. Maybe we'll put together another group of people. We'll get a whole bunch of committees together, and we can make sure that. Better yet, maybe we'll hire a think tank. Right? We'll hire a think tank. We'll get a whole bunch of people on a board, and we'll vote on the direction we should take that bridge, or the direction we should go out with maybe we'll have a planning commission, we'll get some of those. Maybe we'll set up a bridge commission, and again, these fucking people, what do they meet? Once every 4 months, twice a year. Nobody moves at this pace unless you're in government, unless you're in quality, unless you're one of these fucking designers. Sorry guys. Okay. This stuff just makes me crazy. Okay. A couple more comments, guys, and then I'm gonna move into phase 3 of what I think will fix America. All right. Yogi Berra says, Biden, okay, I know what you're saying there. Mike Abigor is in there. Be careful if it was high pressure. So, okay, good. We got to find a good comment here. Let's see. Okie dokie pokey says, "Hi, Dad. All right, cool, dude. Beware of the Biden." Okay, okay, okay. Well, I don't see a comment in here. Let's see. I don't trust Biden. You mean to tell me my butt's gonna get cleaned using toilet water? Oh, you're talking about a bidet. I'm sorry. Okay. Interesting. Okay, it's not toilet water, my man. Okay, uses off the mainland. Yeah, again, my wife's Indian. All of her family's Indian. They all live here in America, and every one of them has a bidet. Bidets in every house on every toilet. So very, very, very aware of what those are. Okay. This is Scott Osage Res. I haven't seen you before. Cool. Empire State Building was built in a year. Yeah, and that's the story that I tell people. Like we literally built one of the most iconic buildings in America. And I think it was in the 20s or 30s. Built it in a year. It was like 300. No, it was like 415 days or something like that. Again, we can't even plan a fucking bridge in 2 years. Like go Grok right now. Get on Grok or get on Google and ask where the bridge is in Baltimore that was hit by the barge, right? I forget the name, Francis Scott Key Bridge or something like that. Find out where the thing's at. It was hit 2 years ago. They don't even have they got nothing done on the thing, you know. So it's disgusting. We're just like so this country has got to learn to move. Otherwise, we're literally going to get left behind. Okay, I don't see any comments here that I need to talk to. Okay, let's go. Stage 3. You guys that are still here, I appreciate. Hit the like button, add discussion. Let's go through phase 3. Let's get a quick drink of beer. All right, this is called the housing hammer phase. Everyone's concerned about housing. Okay. So the federal the phase 3 is going to be housing hammer. Okay, it's federal zoning stick, right? States that block housing, right, lose federal money, right? So if you're going to block, you're going to pull this NIMBYism bullshit. No more. You don't get any federal money, right? So that's going to incentivize states to then develop homes, right? So that's one thing that we could do real quick. Bringing about modular and tiny homes. Okay, I don't know about you guys. I grew up in a trailer, right? So, and my wife always makes fun of me because she grew up in India, and I think I might have been poorer than her. And I always tell her like, no, it was a double wide. You know, she always laughs at me. She thinks it's hilarious. But yeah, I literally grew up on one of those houses. We need more of those homes. Like that's to get people into real houses. And again, apartments suck, guys. I've never been an apartment guy. It just there's nothing about an apartment that feels like home. But you got to get people into whether it's tiny homes, modular homes, something that they own, right? Something that they can have some kind of ownership of, because truth is that you value something when you own it. So I've owned rental properties in my day, and I've never had a tenant that valued the home that they rented from me, right? I've never had a tenant that called me right away when something was broken. I've never had a tenant that was looking for damage in a home. Excuse me. They just, and maybe not care is the right word, but they don't have an eye for problems before they become big problems, because again, they don't own it. It's not their thing. They don't really give a shit. They'd rather go deal with something else. And it just is what it is. You need to get more people owning things, even if it's a smaller home. I think it's wildly important that happens. You need to have first time home buyer grants. And that's a grant, right? It's forgivable. You don't have to pay it back. You have to do something. Now, home builders will inevitably raise their prices. Sellers will inevitably raise their prices, right? So you have to have a mechanism in place to curb that. But you have to incentivize people wanting to go buy homes, whether that's buying rates down, whether that's incentivizing people to actually sell their homes. Maybe you give the seller a credit so that they then go sell their home. But it's very difficult to do that when you bought a home at 3% like I did. And then when you go buy a new home, it's going to be 6.5%. It doesn't make any sense. Why would I give up what I have for twice the interest rate? You have to fix that mechanism. And maybe it's a federal grant. If you guys remember the Cash for Clunkers program, they were giving people I think it was like $5,000 to $8,000 if you sold your old piece of shit car and then bought a new car, right? I don't know if you guys remember that. Maybe something like that would help. But man, it really got the old cars out of the system. And I think that was during Obama's. Was that Obama? I think it was Obama that was in office when that happened. But that really it was great for the automotive industry. It got the old cars out and the new cars in, So maybe we end up with something like that. I don't know. Other things, you got to cap rents in these hot spots, okay? Places like New York, places like Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, Florida, whatever. Like Austin, probably Dallas, not Austin, but you got to cap residency places because people can't live. They can't afford to live, guys. And what's happening is this driving everybody out that can't live there, and then you're left with just wealthy people, right? And then the poor people, the people that have to have jobs because they got no fucking money, they have to then bust themselves in or they have to drive their automobiles in. And again, all these places have tolls. They've got massive fees on coming in. Like Manhattan is the worst, guys. Like I deliver to Manhattan all the time. It costs about $150 just to get my delivery van into Manhattan one way. There's so many goddamn tolls in that place. And so it's just prohibitively expensive for people to live in these places. The other thing is you need to start new cities, guys. And this is a wild idea, but you need to either build up some of these old cities or start new mega cities to places where we can actually get businesses to grow. And if you bring the manufacturing back to America, you force the American businesses to hire American people because you cut off the third world or you cut off bringing in the third world. Guess what? There's more people that can afford to buy homes. There's more people that know how to fix up existing homes. There's more people that will then be able to make a real wage and afford homes. Okay, so very important that we do something like that. And again, I'm not for rent control, but this is something that was listed as part of a way to help the people very quickly, right? So, all right, other things we have. Let's see. Okay, no, that was the last one. So we had federal zoning housing or federal zoning. We have modular and tiny homes. We have first-time home buyer grants, and then we have rent caps in hotspots like Manhattan, Atlanta, and Miami. So yeah. So this is kind of what I have going on here. Because what's going to happen is if you do all these things, guys, guess what? It causes wages to go up, right? It means that you're able to afford more stuff. Yes, the cost of things will go up in the short term, but your wages will also go up much faster, right? People like to think that when an economy craters, that wages crater. The truth is that what happens is prices crater. Wages don't necessarily crater because people that continue to work, their wages stay high, and they actually even go up because businesses can't necessarily afford to hire people willy-nilly. The cheap labor is cut off, right? So they can't afford to hire Jose instead of hiring Jason, right? This is a good thing, you know? So these are just some of the things that I put together on Grok that I thought were kind of cool. If we don't do this, guys, here's what happens. If we continue where we're going today, everyone is going to end up on welfare or UBI. Because again, as an employer, why would I hire you? Like I could hire an illegal immigrant who won't complain about my factory. He won't be on his phone all the time. He doesn't have any family bullshit to deal with. He just comes in and works. He'll work weekends. He'll do anything I ask him to do, and he'll do it with a fucking smile. Most people today won't do it, right? And again, if I can't hire Jose to come in and do my work, I can send it to the third world. The third world will do it for a tenth of what we have to do it here. And then I could take all that money, and then I could hire researchers, I could hire marketers, I could hire brand specialists, you know, I could put more money in my pocket, you know, I could, you know, build up my McDuck vault. But guess what? I'm not training the next generation of people. I'm going to teach my kids that number go up is all that matters. It doesn't matter if more people learn how to woodwork. It doesn't matter if more people learn how to paint. It doesn't matter if more people learn how to deliver furniture to places like Martha's Vineyard, right? None of that shit matters. We're not training the next generation. We're training the next generation to outsource. We're training the next generation to bring the third world in here and teach Jose instead of Jason. You know, that's what we're doing today, right? We're telling people that, hey, send your work to the third world. It's good for us. Increase regulations in America, make it harder for anyone to start their own business, right? That's what we're doing. You know, we're training people, we're sending everyone to college, and we're saying how great it is. You're going to get so smart, you're going to make a six-figure salary working in an office, and bridges take 4 years to build when we used to build skyscrapers in a year. You know, everything is slowing down in this country. Nothing is working the way that it should. And in large part, it's all because of third world labor, whether it's the labor you bring into this country or the outsourcing and manufacturing that you bring back into this country. They then take that money, they buy off the politicians to create the rules and regulations that then make it harder for you and I to make a living wage, to train the people that are going to come after us, right? To give our businesses to our kids, to be able to retire, right? To be able to get reasonable health here, to be able to get reasonable prices for anything. It's impossible, you know? So I don't know what you guys think. Again, it's Saturday today. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I'm going to go through a few more comments here, and then I'm going to end the stream. But I want to know what you guys think. Does any of this stuff seem like it would work to you? Am I way off base? Is this as good as it gets? We just have to deal with and manage the decline in America, right? Does anybody here want to be a business owner? Has anyone been a business owner, right? Am I going right? Am I going wrong? All right, let's go with Nap with Us. Trailers these days are more expensive than stick built. Honestly, as a builder, I could frame and build cheaper than someone transporting the thinner wall, less insulation. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know. That's cool. So yeah, so maybe this whole idea of people moving into single wide and double wide trailers is not such a good idea. Again, I thought that was a much, at least when I grew up, that was a much cheaper way to live. You could get one of these. We called them manufactured homes back in the day. They were like anywhere from like 30 to 50 grand, and you would essentially put it on a piece of land, or you would rent the land and you'd put that trailer on there, and that's where you live. And it was reasonably priced, and the homes were kind of dog shit, but you get what you pay for, right? All right, Yogi Bear, K1 GTG. Okay, not sure what you're saying there, dude. Son, honestly, there's a lot of potential in tiny homes. Yeah, I get it, man. I care more about the garage being big than the homes. Yeah, there's a lot of cool. Have you guys seen these people that are living, they're creating these homes where it's essentially like a big, massive shop, and then there's like a mezzanine that has the house on it. It's pretty cool. They got a name for it. I always thought that'd be awesome too. What I want to do is I want to buy an aircraft hangar. That's what I want to do. Buy an aircraft hangar, put all my woodworking tools, put all my cars and shit in there, and then just build a little tiny house inside that thing. Because again, guys, we don't need shit. And unfortunately, we like women, and women like nice shit. They like real homes and, nice pillows and color and stuff like that. If it was just us, we just have tools and box furniture and just a big fucking television, then we'd be good. But whatever. I mean, I would just drink beer and eat hot dogs all day. Women don't do that. So all right, Mikkel says that used to get an apartment and stack people in it until they saved enough to buy a truck and a place. Yeah, maybe we got to go back to that, man. Americans won't do that. Yeah, I know it's again, it's gotten so good in America for so long. I think we've forgotten what it takes to go backward. I mean, we got to take a step backwards in order to go forwards. I just don't think anyone wants to go backwards, guys. Okay, nap with us, truth. See, our local Amish pay no property tax, less tax in general, cash for everything, electric bill, of course. They will make money, they pool money and build community. Yeah, and maybe the Amish got it right. That doesn't sound that bad to me. I mean, when I was young, I just wanted to go in the military. After 9/11 happened, I was like, I'm going to go fucking kill terrorists. And I signed up. I thought, man, I'm just going to go. I'm going to get paid to do PT, shoot rifles, and fix Humvees. That's what I was going to do. Man, that simple life sounded amazing to me. It didn't work out though. All right, Moot 9180. All right, not sure what that is. Nap with us. Cash for clunkers destroyed so much value for a worse product. Yes, I agree. I'm one of these same people. At the time, we didn't think that way, but I'm one of these people that think if you buy a car if you buy cars after 2011, you're kind of asking for trouble because they're so electronically focused. All the parts are wildly expensive. Everything's composite. It's hard to repair. Very difficult to do. But I think the program in general did what it was supposed to do, which was get the old lower mile per gallon vehicles out and the newer higher mile per gallon vehicles in, which basically were trading a bunch of V8s for a bunch of four cylinders, right? And we all know four cylinders don't really last that long. Those 8-cylinder engines last forever. Okay, I saw a story where a NASCAR fan's friend made him eat his own beer due to something stupid. Okay, interesting. Imagine that friends, if they lived together, they'd all die. Okay, if you were to get several families to buy land and homes, it would work fine. Yeah, probably. There's probably some of that, different skills. Everyone's got a different kind of skill. It makes the community work. That seems like a good idea to me. Russell Dixon, any other people that can read a tape measure and have a driver's license, you're worth $20 an hour. Yeah, so... Yeah, that's reading a tape measure is very valuable, but I tell people that, reading a tape measure, obviously driver's license, CDL, all this kind of things, no drugs, wildly important. I tell people that half of making it in life is just showing up on time. That's it. Like, how many people I've seen and how many opportunities I've got in my life just from always being around, being on time. How many times have you guys been somewhere and like someone doesn't show up on Friday? Oh yeah, fucking Bill, he hardly ever shows up on Friday. Or you got, Sally, she doesn't ever come on Monday. Or you got, Ted, yeah, Ted's always late. Like, just being the guy that's always there will get you more opportunities and take you further than most things, by being completely honest. And just being consistent doing that thing takes you a long way. All right, but the land, build one home, all live cramped and uncomfortable. Next money, make another home, repeat. Yeah, maybe. 4% tariffs. Oh, that's the right. We don't go to college, dude. Needs a history of the class. I know. I got again. I know my tariff policy isn't popular. It's not. I argue with Grok all the time about it. She always tells me that I'm an idiot. But what I'm trying to do is everyone only thinks about the sheer numbers. It's like just number go up. That's all people care about. I'm trying to change our culture. When I talk 400% tariffs, oh God, we need one more like. Someone hit like, get it up to 30. When I talk tariffs 400%, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get us back to, I will call it an agrarian society, but I'm trying to get us back to a society of builders and of people that work with their hands. I want more people to know how to fix homes. I want more people to know how to fix cars. And I want our businesses to start making stuff that lasts. I want our corporations to start making things that are of really high quality. I want our culture to teach the next generation to do the thing that worked for them. This idea that going to college and everyone getting the same degree, I don't think it's worked. I don't think it's been good for our society. I think that we don't have enough people that know how to fix anything. I think I've seen enough I've hired and fired enough people over my years to see that the number one and the number two job in America is Amazon worker and DoorDasher. I don't think that's good for our society. More people need to learn how to read tape measures, operate CNC routers, and do things that are advantageous to the quality of products. We need to make less in this country, right? We need to make higher quality, make less things. And when you cut off the third world, both the people that we bring into this country and the manufacturing we do in the third world, it causes more people to learn things. It brings wages up. It allows more people to start small businesses. It allows more things to be made in America. You're buying things from your neighbor instead of buying from some fucking guy who, you'll never meet, right? Buying a product that was made by, Xing in China instead of buying Steve from your neighbor down the road. It's pie in the sky utopia bullshit. I get it, but I think we've gone too far. Everyone wants to be a knowledge worker. We've convinced everyone that being a knowledge worker is the way to go. And I don't think that it's good for society. I don't think that it's done what it was supposed to do. And we're all paying the price for it right now. So, all right. If you're in the stream, hit the like button. I want 30 likes. Someone's got to hit like. We'll keep reading comments till we get there. All right. Malik, okay, you guys are commenting there. Russell Dixon, I worked 50 years and that is top. That you're saying you worked 50 years and that's top pay. What was it? Did you say $20 an hour? Or you said something like that? $20 an hour? That can't be top pay. A tape measure and a driver's license doesn't pay $20 an hour. Now, if you're a newbie, like if I hire somebody out of high school, right? I'm going to pay somebody out of high school. I'm probably going to pay them $15 an hour. If they know how to read a tape measure, I'm still going to pay them $50 an hour because they don't really know how to do anything. Once they prove they can do something, they can add some value to my business. Well, then we'll start raising their salary. And the more value they provide, the more money they'll make. And so I don't know, but if you're making $20 an hour at 50, that's no good, man. Okay, now about 20 is peasant wage. Yeah, tough to get around on $20 an hour. Okay, Russell, you know that they want to pay fast food. I think fast food pays like $17 an hour now. And again, that's another thing. Like this whole fast food work. Have you guys noticed this? Like it's all old people. Like we got these McDonald's down the road. It's all Mexicans working in there. Like what the fuck is that all about? It used to be young kids worked at those places. Like the people that were in high school, the people that were going to college would do those as side jobs. Those days are over. Like what happened to kids working in high school? What happened to kids working in college? You guys notice this? Like a lot of kids don't even work when they go to college anymore because again, they get all the money paid for by the government. So, and again, the businesses don't want to pay the kids that are just going to leave. They want to pay that illegal labor that's going to stick around and work for nothing. It's a bad deal. Okay, let's see. It's not discipline. It's who is willing to eat shit so someone else can shine. All right, my state minimum wage is going to be $25 an hour in 2030. Well, I think we're like 15 here in Missouri. In Illinois, where I live, I think it's probably much higher. Fucking Illinois is just they've never seen a tax or a minimum wage increase. They've never passed. All right, pit maneuver, great name, man. You've been here before. Okay, around here, McDonald's space. Yeah, again, you're saying the same thing. All right, okay, guys, I'm gonna go to. Okay, cool. I'm actually at the end. Amazing, guys. Yeah, we got it for 30 likes. I really appreciate everyone's time today. All right, yeah, I said it's like 20 is peasant wages. Malik says, please realize as you age, things change. Yep, you should know this, but it's not just think for a second. All right, Russell Dixon, okay, do you possess skills? Right, not sure what you're saying there. What the fuck? Hondas last forever. That's true. Hondas and Toyotas, man, those guys haven't figured out. There's something about their production processes. Their engines do last a long time. I retract my previous statement. You're right. Okay, let's see. Roxy is God. I remember seeing you. Roxy is God 2725. Okay, but if you're outsourcing the production in the third world, you're saving on transportation to spend on more gas inside America to go around viewing beautiful landscapes. So it's real-time downfall. Okay, your other comment is, let's see. We're all gonna disconnect before the businesses that can't outsource triples their budget. Okay, Roxy, I know you're saying some stuff. You're just your typing is a little inconsistent. Fuha 2727, hi there from Southern Germany. Yeah, Germany. Okay, so Germany actually does one of the things that I think we really need to do in this country, and And Faha, if you're still in here, comment on this. So one of the things that Germany does really well, from what I understand, is that they value trades and people work with their hands. They value the trash man. They value the guy that works on the roads. They don't have this delusion that we have here in America that white collar is better than blue collar. There's actually kind of a symbiosis. They all realize they all need each other. And from what I understand, Germany really values apprenticeships, right? This learning right as you get out of high school or whatever you guys call your school over there, to jump right into a job, and they really value on the job training and getting to work right after you get out of high school. But they also do college, and it's kind of a thing over there. So I'm curious if that's the case. But I think we need more of that. We need more of that in America, and it's going to take a while to get there. But as long as we're outsourcing everything to the third world and bringing the third world in here, it's going to make it very difficult for people to value working with their hands because, again, you can pay somebody else to do all that work, and then you will only value college-related work. So I believe even Toyotas and Hondas are not all that they were. Yeah, I thought they're pretty good. But yes, I buy Toyota to work in a see. Yes, I buy Toyota and work in a plant that assembles Mercedes axles. Very cool. Germans are funny, man. All right. They also are very literate. Yeah, I think Germans. I think Germany kind of has it right. You know, they. I think their system is pretty good. But what do I know? I'm just a dumb furniture maker here in St. Louis, Missouri. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the stream. I really appreciate everyone spending the time today. And I try to do a stream once a day. Again, you guys want to know how to run a business. You want to know how to paint furniture, make furniture, work with metal, all these kind of things. This is what we talk about. I also try and talk about a current event. I talk about something real. Okay, cool. I'll read your comment in just a second. My goal is to teach the next generation. My goal is to show people that you can run a business. You can do something that works with your hands and make a decent middle class living. You can teach other people to do these things, but it is more difficult, and you do have to trade money to do it. There's no easy way to employ Americans today. It's much easier to outsource the work to the third world. It's much easier to bring the third world in here and do the work because Americans require real American wages. And it's very difficult, but that's one of the things that I do as an American manufacturer that makes American furniture right here in St. Louis, Missouri. So if you guys are still in here, go to theresplendentcrow.com if you want to see what it is that I do. I don't sell anything to anybody other than furniture. I'm not trying to get rich here. I'm not trying to sell you guys some bullshit courses or sell you some Chinese-made shit. We make it all right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Farah, let's go through your comment real quick, dude. Or is it Fahu, I guess. Excuse me. Fahu 2727. Yeah, absolutely. But in Germany, a lot of young people want to study. I'm a carpenter and build all my stuff myself. At the moment, 2 kayaks. Wow, very cool, man. So Fahu, I hope I'm saying that, Fahu, 2727. Come back to the stream and come back here and let us know what it is that you do a little bit. Give us a little more information. That's cool that you're a carpenter. I'm curious whereabouts in Germany you live, like kind of the general area. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting country you guys have over there. And again, I'm a Wilkin. My family's German, but I'm of course all American. But I appreciate being here. Last couple comments, like your thoughts. Cool. Hey, brother. All right. This is Tariffs in here again. Sorry, dude. We're just ending. I think you're a very smart man. Okay. I don't know if I'm very smart. I just did it a different way. I didn't follow the path, and it's worked out okay. It's a lot of work, and I'll probably never get rich, but it's a decent middle class living. I even built a CNC myself, some kind of mentality that's dying at the moment with all the young people. That's funny, Fahu. You're just like me. So check it out, man. I'm building a CNC router right now. I'm doing the same thing. I build all kinds of stuff. I built most of the furniture in my house. Again, now I got a furniture company. We build about 500 pieces a year. So we move a lot of product, but the CNC router should really help. So nice one. Yeah, cool. What kind of router do you have, Fahu? Did you literally build it yourself? Did you buy a kit from somebody? I'm curious what kind of CNCs they have there in Germany. Okay, you assembled it or you made it. So yeah, I assembled mine. So I actually bought a kit from a company called Millwright out in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I talked to the guy over there. His name's Derek, and they sent us a kit. It has all the blower motors, all the router motors. It just came with everything. I just got to run all the electrical and fire the thing up. It's all touch screen, which is kind of nice. So it's a pretty sick system. So I got that to come. And that's actually what I was supposed to do this morning. But then I saw some of this stuff on X, and I'm like, God, I got to talk about this on YouTube. And so that's what I'm doing. Other things I've done, guys, I started a couple of subscription things. I'm going to put together a group. If you guys want to talk business, I'm going to dedicate a stream every week just to talking about business for people. I'll open that group up here pretty soon. I don't know if it's things that people are interested in, but I do want to put that together just for business related content for people that want to learn woodworking, learn painting, learn how to do metalwork, learn how to start a small business. You want to learn how to find vendors, how to keep your costs down, how to do marketing, how to do social media. I do all that stuff, and I will put it together and do a stream about it because I think it might be cool for people. So you guys have a great weekend, and we'll do this thing again. Probably we'll talk about something tomorrow morning. So you guys have a great one. See you.